At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Westwood One Sports Night. Here's Lynnell Willingham.
Oh, yeah. What's going on? Westwood One Sports Night family. You know who it is. Youngest in charge movement. Lynnell Willingham here with you live and nationwide on a Tuesday night edition of Westwood One Sports Night. Ride with me as we get you up to 3 a.m. Eastern Time, taking you coast to coast, giving you the latest on what it is and what it ain't in the world of sports. It is the People's Show. Several different ways you can participate in the show and get at me. Talking text line wide open off the rip. 310-840-4910. 310-840-4910. You can tweet at me as well. Same handle on each and every social media platform. It is at NELL_BTP. We encourage you to check out the visual element of the program as well. Just search Westwood One Sports Night on YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment to stream all 4 hours of this bad boy, man. A lot to get into. I want to get into it right off the rip here. We talked about it a good amount last night, and it feels like the news that we got right ahead of the start of the show, we've kind of been bracing ourselves for impact, is how I would put it. Hubert Davis officially out as the head coach of the University of North Carolina after 5 seasons on the bench. He had been an assistant in Chapel Hill dating back to 2012, and this is a decision that, as we sit here now that it's official, I still don't know if I'm 110% on board with, but I get it. When you are the University of North Carolina, there is a standard that you hold yourself to as far as your basketball program, and the bottom line is back-to-back first-round exits in the NCAA tournament is not acceptable. So if that is the major reason as to why Hubert Davis was fired, then I guess I understand it. Now, the best way that I think I'd describe his tenure, plenty of highs, plenty of lows. Made it to the Final Four in year number 1. Year number 2, preseason number 1, and didn't even make the tournament. 23, you made the Sweet 16. And then the last 2 years, you got bounced in the opening round of the NCAA tournament. This is now, to me, one of the most attractive job openings that we've ever had in college basketball. Because the reality of the situation is, over the course of my lifetime, and as the youngest in charge, 28 years of age, throughout the course of my lifetime, this job simply hasn't come open. And the big question that I think a lot of folks right now around the landscape and world of college basketball, the question that everyone has is, will the University of North Carolina go outside of the family, so to speak, to hire the team's next head coach? This is the quote that was given from the University of North Carolina. Quote, "A national search is underway for the Tar Heels' next head coach. Cunningham, talking about Bubba Cunningham and Newmark, are leading the search. And Carolina," and this is the interesting part to me, "has hired executive search firm Turnkey ZRG to assist." The other quote from the statement that I think is super important: "They will consult with an advisory group, including former players, former coaches, and supporters." Hubert Davis, he also had a statement that was released via Instagram, and just the tone of this statement gives you a little bit of insight as to how this thing went down. Hubert says, "Tonight, I was let go by the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. My desire was to continue to coach here. This opportunity has truly been such a blessing. I thank Jesus literally every day for giving me the opportunity, relationships, and experiences with the kids and my staff. I am very proud of what we were able to accomplish together. My goal is to coach again in the very near future." There was some speculation throughout the past couple of days as to whether or not this was actually going to go down. And I think as more and more time passed without anything being said, without a vote of confidence, I think most people assumed this was the route that the university was going to go. And what North Carolina basketball is now left to do is pick up the pieces. The big question that everyone has on their mind: who is the next guy to be at the head of the bench for one of the richest and most prideful programs in all of college basketball? Who's going to be the next guy at the head of the bench for North Carolina? So we're going to talk about this ad nauseum throughout the opening hour of this show, and we'll take your calls and text on it at 310-840-4910. Josh Graham, co-host of this program, he'll be on with us tomorrow for the entirety of the show. He's going to join us coming up in about 15, 20 minutes or so to give his thoughts on what is next for the University of North Carolina. But it's the same thing for me. It doesn't really matter to me who gets this job, right? Obviously it matters. But I think the more important thing, and the question that I have, is whoever gets this job, and I guess I'm asking this question on behalf of Hubert Davis as well, whoever gets this job, will they be supported by the boosters, by the program, to go out and field the most competitive roster possible? Because the rumor out there that a lot of people within college basketball circles are talking about right now is the fact that the University of North Carolina was maybe a little bit late to enter the NIL arms race. Maybe there was a little bit of arrogance at the beginning of this thing. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and we'll confirm this with Josh Graham when he comes on, I believe North Carolina basketball didn't hire a GM until 2 seasons ago in terms of like having a GM to run the program. And I think that position in today's day and age in college athletics and college basketball, I think it's paramount that you have a knowledgeable dude in that spot that knows the ins and outs of the NIL landscape and has the ability to, finagle the boosters, give you some more bread, man. Like, that's the bottom line with it. That's what I question and worry about with this job. Because we went through these numbers last night, and it just still, as we sit here this evening, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. You can talk about early exits all you want. I question just how talented the University of North Carolina has been over the past 5-6 seasons, really looking at it from a 1,000-foot view in terms of the past decade. And the one thing that I continue to have major questions about is just how active, just how many resources North Carolina has to go out and buy talent in today's NIL landscape. And I know what some people are thinking, right? Lynnell, what the hell are you talking about, brother? This is the University of North Carolina. This is the University of North Carolina. They are one of the brands that are synonymous with not just college basketball, but college athletics, period. Of course, they have the money to go out and land top recruits across the country. You can say that, and I hear anybody that feels that way. But to me, the numbers don't add up. To me, the proof is in the pudding in terms of their inability to land top talent across the country. Since 2016, the University of North Carolina has had just 4 top 10 recruiting classes. 2 of those recruiting classes came under the watch of Hubert Davis. Whoever they hire next, and we're going to go through a bunch of names coming up here momentarily, whoever they hire next, are they going to have the resources? Are they going to be provided the resources to go out and recruit year in and year out? Not some situation where, we'll recruit heavy this year and then next year we'll be okay with having the 40th ranked class in all of Division I, right? North Carolina should be ashamed at their inability to reload and retool on a year in and year out basis, because right up the road, under the guidance of John Shire at Duke University, they are reloading year in and year out. Year in and year out, they are in the mix for the top player in all of high school. And I know if you're a Tar Heel fan out there and you're trying to go to bat for your school, you're probably saying, well, man, they're not going hard after high school recruits because they're getting busy and active in the transfer portal. There's some merit to that, but I still think in today's day and age, man, it's about, can you go out and recruit? Can you go out and acquire the top talent across the country? And based off of the numbers that I just gave you, I don't know if UNC has the ability to do that. As far as some potential names, to me, any name that I'm going to list here, they're going to have to be bought out, right? They're going to have to be bought out by the university, and it's going to be pricey if you're going to land somebody that is at the top of the market, so to speak. The number one name that I continue to hear people talk about when it comes to this job, and a guy that I think is pretty damn deserving of the job if he wants it, would be Nate Oates from Alabama. That is the guy to me that I think is absolutely fascinating when it comes to this search for the next head coach at North Carolina. Nate Oates and what he has done at Alabama and the high-level coaching job that he's done, his ability to recruit at a high level, I think he's got everything that the University of North Carolina would want. The question is, will they go outside of the family? See, it can be reported by On3 and John Rothstein and Pete and Nate Coates. Whoever wants to report it can report it. Seeing is believing. You got to show me that you're actually going outside of the family, so to speak, because you haven't in the entirety of my lifetime. You just haven't. And we brought up a name last night that I thought would be more than deserving. Talking about Jerry Stackhouse, guy in the family, so to speak, that has, Power 5 coaching experience. And a guy that would be revered, on campus by faculty, by everybody within the program. A guy that I think still is young enough and understands the current landscape of NIL. I still think he's sharp enough and cool enough, so to speak, right, to walk into the living room of a 17-year-old and go, hey, Slim, follow me, hold my hand, I'll get you to the promised land. The other thing is this in terms of the job and its attractiveness. And let me actually rewind here for a second. Before we even talk about the job and its attractiveness, the big thing that I keep getting caught up on is why they can't land top recruits year in and year out. And one of the things that maybe we hadn't brought up, it's not like North Carolina's churning out pros each and every year. It's not like North Carolina's churning out lottery picks each and every year. If you are a top recruit in high school, what's attractive about North Carolina? What's attractive about Chapel Hill? I was going to say North Carolina sucks. But then I remember Josh Graham is joining us coming up here in about 10 minutes. But, seriously, why would you want to go to North Carolina? Because of the powder blue, the rich tradition and history of the program? Is that enough? Especially if they're financially aren't able to, live up to expectation and meet, the price that other schools are willing to meet. I think this is a good day if you're a North Carolina Tar Heel fan, not because Hubert Davis got fired, but because there is a potential for the first time in a long time that they're going to go outside of the family. I think that's what they need to do. I wonder, though, and the conversation will continue to circle back to this. I wonder, one, what the finances look like over there at North Carolina. And I guess here's some insight into the finances at UNC. They're paying out the remainder of Hubert Davis's contract. I don't know how many years that is or how much money that is exactly, but money can't be too funny if you can pay a guy for sitting his ass at home, right? That's the one thing that I keep getting confused by. And maybe I'm creating this narrative in my brain. Maybe it's just me totally making it up. But I continue to believe that this inability to land 5 stars on a year-in, year-out basis, it isn't a choice that North Carolina's making. I don't believe that they have the necessary resources in today's day and age to go out and buy the talent that you need to buy in order to field a, championship caliber roster. And every time I say that, it's almost like it's like good Lynnell and bad Lynnell on each shoulder. Good Lynnell says, yeah, you're right, dude. They haven't landed 5 stars. Maybe they're broke. Bad Lynnell says, you damn idiot. We're talking about North Carolina. I feel like over the next 48 to 72 hours, we're going to learn a lot about what, the university is looking to do. I think we're going to learn a lot about the intentions of the university. I also think we're going to learn a lot about the question that I have in terms of financially speaking, where is the university at? Where do things stand with the university in terms of their budget for the athletic department? And the guy that's taking your calls at 310-840-4910, our guy Oliver Popular, brought up a really interesting point last night. Brought up the idea of, does this newfound interest in football at the University of North Carolina, does that at all impact the basketball finances? Does that at all impact how basketball is able to maneuver and go out and spend money? I don't know if it does, but I think it's an interesting point. You just landed Caleb Wilson. You got another, 5-star coming in this year, talking about Mingo. So I don't know, but I do know this. For the first time in a long time, I expect the University of North Carolina to go outside of the family to hire their program's next head coach. The question is, are they going to swing for the fences, or are they going to make an underwhelming hire? That's the big question here. A lot more to get to here on Westwood One Sports Night, including the Kang of North Kakalaki. Josh Graham going to join us coming up here. We'll get his thoughts on what's going on in his neck of the woods. Hubert Davis officially out as the head coach of the University of North Carolina. Who can potentially replace him on the bench in Chapel Hill? That's next here on Westwood One Sports Night. This portion of the show brought to you by our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The #1 sportsbook for live betting is built for March. The tournament is unexpected. Rewards are guaranteed. DraftKings Sportsbook is delivering the most generous rewards in the market. With DraftKings, the #1 sportsbook for live betting, you're not just betting what might happen, you're betting what's happening. New to DraftKings, bet just $5 and get $200 of bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Westwood. That's code Westwood to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets instantly. A partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bonus bets are non-cash credits that expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer ends April 5th of 2026.
Imagine a sports platform that talks with you, not at you. Your stories, your opinions, your one destination. This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports Night. Here's Lynnell Willingham.
I guarantee you it was a dream for Tar Heel fans to have their head coaching search opened up nationwide. That is the possibility that we have coming up here in the next several days. Breaking news ahead of the start of the show. Hubert Davis out as the head coach at the University of North Carolina after 5 seasons as the head coach. He had been on the bench since 2012, back-to-back first-round exits in the NCAA tournament. A lot of folks feel like is the reasoning for that decision. This is Westwood One Sports Night with the youngest of Charles Lynnell Willingham, getting you up to 3 a.m. Eastern Time. Right now, we bring in, I was going to say friend of the program, co-owner of the program, however we want to describe him as, our guy Josh Graham, the Kang of North Kakalaki. You look a little dark over there, my friend. Is this like doom and gloom over the next potential coach in Chapel Hill, or are you just not? What's happening, player?
Nobody's happy over here, Lynnell. This is not something Tar Heel fans, they want a different coach, sure, but what tonight represents is the end of something that goes back to the 1950s, which is North Carolina's basketball coach having a tie back to Dean Smith. There are still a lot of things that are done within this program that other programs wouldn't do. And then when asked about it, North Carolina would say, well, that's what Coach Smith always did. And like a thought of the day at practice and all the things that Hubert Davis swears by. It's why the Carolina family is such a real thing, and why program-wide functions are it's different at North Carolina than you get at a lot of places. So the fact that a guy who took North Carolina to a Final Four as a player and then as a coach as well in his first season and extinguished Coach K twice in two of the more important wins in the history of the program, nobody's happy about where things stand right now. But the reason why you move forward is because you have real fundraising challenges at the moment when you need to fund a new building project, whether it's renovation or relocation. That's going to cost between $400 and $500 million, maybe more than that. And this is the text I've been getting numerously throughout the night, just real concerns about the ability to fundraise for next year's roster, not having the same amount of funds that you would have before. If Hubert Davis is your coach, you're worried about that, and that's why you make the move for the near term and also the long term as well.
Can you expound upon that more? Because I feel like the casual college basketball fan, the casual college sports fan may not understand what you're saying. How is the head coach, I guess, a negative influence on their ability to be able to fundraise and recruit and build this roster?
Well, I think you can figure in the sense of what the sport is now, where revenue, it's king, and you still have NIL that exists, and specifically with an arena, which this is something that is huge news here locally that nationally, you're right, people might not know so much about. Coach K even joined the show and weighed in on this subject as how much of a hot button subject it is. They are pushing to relocate from one of the most iconic venues in college sports, the Dean E. Smith Center, for revenue purposes, because you can't build around it. And there are a lot of different things you could do in a different building. And if you have to renovate so much and it costs so much, you might just be better suited moving off of there. So if you want to get people excited to do so, the excitement isn't quite there with Hubert Davis, given what the last 5 years have been and how inconsistent it's been. And from the fundraising year to year, it goes hand in hand. Like LSU, for example, with Lane Kiffin, reportedly has a roster of $40 million this year. And that's what you get when you really energize your fan base. That probably wouldn't happen if they kept Brian Kelly in place. When revenue is what drives things, you need to keep your fan base and your donor base engaged. And that is what this is primarily about.
Josh Graham joins us now, reacting to the big news that broke before the start of the show. Hubert Davis out as the head coach of the University of North Carolina. Josh, you mentioned a need for excitement within the program. They need a shot in the arm, a cup of Joe to go, as I like to call it on Saturday and Sunday mornings. Who fits the bill? Who fits the bill in terms of, hey, if they land Coach X, this would be something that reinvigorates the program. This would be something that gets donors back on board and allows them to do what they've struggled to do, in my opinion, in the past 10 years, and that's field one of the best rosters in the country on a year-in, year-out basis.
Oh, they're going to take a big swing. You don't move off of 65 years of connection to Dean Smith in history if you don't shoot for the moon. Now, some of the names you're going to hear thrown around they're not going to be able to get. UConn coach Dan Hurley, he's focused on his team in the second weekend. He wants probably nothing to do with this. He turned down the Lakers. He'll probably turn down North Carolina as well. Dusty May, you'd love to have him. Took FAU to a Final Four, might take Michigan to a Final Four. But that guy was pursued by Indiana last year, which is his alma mater, and he said no. So probably says no to the Tar Heels too. Brad Stevens, he's trying to win a title with the Celtics. He's trying to win a title with the Celtics. He's built a yearly contender in the NBA. It's hard to imagine leaving that, given the current state of the Celtics, for a college gig. So those are some of the names that they might shoot for. that they probably won't be able to
Real
get.
quick here,
But there are a lot more exciting names that they can pursue, I think, that are gettable.
Real quick on the names you just mentioned, if you could, have it your way, if Tar Heel fans can have it their way, and they could get any coach in the country,
Stevens.
who would be it would be Brad Stevens for you.
Yeah, I mean, this has been the prophecy for about 15 to 20 years now, where growing up in this state and falling in love with the industry that we've decided to pursue, sports talk, like the local equivalent to talking about whether Pete Rose should be inducted into the Hall of Fame or whether or not, college athletes should get paid before NIL became a reality, is wondering who takes over for Coach K and Roy Williams when they retire. And both Duke and North Carolina fans are like, Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens is the guy. That's the guy who makes the most sense. And I think that, it got to the point where when Bill Belichick was hired last year in football, during the introductory press conference, the AD made a joke saying, yeah, we were considering a few names. It was Bill Belichick and Brad Stevens. And the entire room erupted because everybody knew what he was talking about. So it would be funny. If you want the most hilarious scenario possible, though, Lynnell, how about the Tar Heels hire Billy Donovan from the NBA with the Bulls, and then the Bulls hire John Shire away from Duke and bring him home to his hometown of Chicago, and then Duke hires Brad Stevens? How about just next level checkers there?
I was about to say, man, the only thing you're missing is shades and a tinfoil hat. It's Conspiracy Josh all over the airwaves here on Westwood One Sports Night. I think Brad Stevens is a total pipe dream. I think we've been doing this song and dance for the past decade with him. There's a reason he left college basketball in the first place. There's a reason he didn't want to coach the Celtics anymore. I think he may just be past that point in his career. You kind of referenced something that I am interested in, is the best way that I could put it. The buyout for Todd Golden at the University of Florida is $16 million.
Correct.
Would this be crazier than what you said? UNC is able to land Todd Golden, and then Billy Donovan goes back to Florida.
No, that's the for the moon move that North Carolina should be most strongly pursuing, because Iowa did you the solid. He's available right now. And one of the things that people wanted when Roy Williams was being replaced, and Roy got his wish, wanting Hubert to be the coach, is having a younger coach take over. Todd Golden's 40 and he's a national champion. When North Carolina's making this hire, here's the prerequisite for me. I don't want this guy could be a good coach. I want this guy is an amazing coach.
So no gambles,
I want this
no
guy
first
is
year, no first-timers.
This is I think he could do it. No mid-majors, none of that. This guy is an amazing coach right now. This guy is right now in the second weekend of the tournament. This guy has won a national championship before. That is the bar that North Carolina should be bringing in. So, yeah, you're North Carolina. You got the money. You can pay that buyout. You can hire Todd Golden. But if it's not Todd Golden, there are 3 other names of coaches right now coaching that guarantee you are on North Carolina's list. TJ Otzelberger at Iowa State, his buyout's only $4 million. Tommy Lloyd at Arizona, keep an eye on that. Maybe you look at, Vandy's out, but Mark Byington has ties to the state of North Carolina. He played at UNC Wilmington. Alabama's Nate Oates is somebody at least worth bringing up too, who took the Crimson Tide to a Final Four and is still playing right now with a shorthanded roster. Those are the names, Lynnell. If it's anybody outside of that, like Billy Donovan would surprise me, Scott Drew would surprise me. We rattled off the names of guys that feel like long shots. But right there, Todd Golden, TJ Otzelberger, Tommy Lloyd, Nate Oates, those are the coaches. That's the standard. And maybe in the worst case, Vandy's Mark Byington, who's been to the tournament the last 3 years. That is the bar for North Carolina. Anything below it would be a shock to me.
One thing we wanted to ask you about, Josh Graham joins us right now here on Westwood One Sports Night. as we take you up to 3 a.m. Eastern Time. Breaking news leading into the start of the show. Hubert Davis out as the head coach of the University of North Carolina after 5 seasons at the head of the bench. Josh, one thing that we were talking about off air here that I'm curious to get your thoughts on. Why hasn't the University of North Carolina, and you tried to explain this to me earlier, but I'll give you the opportunity to do so again. Since 2016, they've had 4 top 10 recruiting classes. 2 of them have come under Hubert Davis. Am I looking at this through an improper lens, so to speak? I feel like with a school like North Carolina, similarly to how Duke reloads on a year-in, year-out basis, why isn't North Carolina reloading on a year-in, year-out basis? What's the difference?
Well, 2016 is a very important year to mark because that was the year that North Carolina had Brandon Ingram flip from North Carolina to Duke. And the reason why he flipped was because there was fear of NCAA punishment towards North Carolina because of the AFAM stuff in the late 2010s, the fake classes, and as Roy Williams called it, the crud. He said the crud that always would be looming over the program. And from 2014 to about 2018, 2019, there was about a 5-year period where that loomed over the Tar Heels. So that's one reason to point to. The second reason would be that North Carolina had older rosters. And when you had older rosters, well, in those junior and senior seasons that you weren't really trying to reload, you weren't exactly going to attract top recruits who were one-and-dones because they didn't know how much playing time they were going to get. Like you look at, the year they went to the Final Four, it was a year after they had one of those top classes that you referred to with R.J. Davis in it and Caleb Love in it. And obviously those guys went on to have great success. And then a few years later, North Carolina went heavy into the transfer portal. And when you're heavy in the portal, adding older guys, well, then your high school recruiting takes a hit as well, and that affects the rankings. So I'd say I'd point to those 3 reasons in the specific era or the specific window you're talking about why North Carolina wasn't doing so great in terms of high school recruiting. But it's worth noting, 2016, they went to the national championship game, lost at the buzzer. 2017, they won the whole thing. 2021, they went to the championship, or 22, went to the championship game, led by 15 at halftime and lost. 2024, they were a number 1 seed in the tournament. So it's not as if they haven't had success while not having the greatest high school rankings.
We know the head coach is yet to be named, but can we take a peek ahead in terms of what this roster potentially looks like next year? You got Dylan Mingo coming in, the number 9 recruit, and I believe they're lone 5-star in the class.
Yep.
What do you expect next year to look like for North Carolina? Is this another year where you're attacking the portal heavy, or do you see them, continuing to be active in like the late signing period?
I am worried about Dylan Mingo, whether or not they'll be able to keep him. And frankly, if that is a consequence for hiring a coach you hope to have for 15 to 20 years, then so be it. Like even when North Carolina made the change off Roy Williams to Hubert Davis, they lost Walker Kessler in the process, but that allowed for them to add a guy named Brady Manick, who went off and became a North Carolina legend in just 1 year there. So I think it depends, obviously, on what happens with Mingo, what their approach is going to be in the portal. You're obviously going to try to make the pitch to Caleb Wilson to try to bring him back as well, but he already has a statement out on social media talking about how great of a person Hubert Davis was. So it wouldn't surprise me if they lost Mingo and if Caleb Wilson soon after announces and declares for the draft, because Hubert had deep relationships with his players, but that's not the primary concern right now. The primary concern is getting the right coach in place.
Keep your ear to the streets, Josh Graham, as we try to get the latest on what is next in Chapel Hill. Hubert Davis out after 5 seasons. We await word of what's next. Josh, we appreciate you, my friend.
You and me for 4 hours tomorrow,
Yes,
Lynnell. Be there.
Heavyweight bout set for 11 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Westwood One Sports Night. A lot more to get to here on Westwood One Sports Night. Talking text line wide open. We want to let you in on this. 310-840-4910. Who should replace Hubert Davis at the University of North Carolina? I'll give you my answer, plus tell you the worst-case scenario for the Tar Heels next.
Westwood One. We love sports. We love to laugh. We love hearing from you. Talking sports with you, not at you. This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports Night. Here's Lynnell Willingham.
This portion of the program is sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance that protects small businesses with affordable coverage options. Get a quote today at progressivecommercial.com. Talking text line wide open for you. 310-840-4910 is the number. It is the People Show. You can tweet at me as well. It is at NELL_BTP. Youngest in charge, Lynnell Willingham, getting you up to 3 a.m. Eastern time on the day that may have changed North Carolina basketball forever. Hubert Davis out as the head coach of the University of North Carolina after 5 seasons. He was on the bench under Roy Williams since 2012, but now the university expected to look outside of the family, so to speak, to find the replacement for Hubert Davis. I'm pretty fascinated in how this actually goes. That, I mean, we're just in lockstep sometimes, but I'm trying to do a bit that I probably should fully explain, but I'm not going to because it may come off as rude. But I'm curious to see if North Carolina actually goes outside of the family for this hire. I'm curious to see if they're actually willing to pony up. And Denton, can you help me understand this? Because I meant to ask Josh this, but it just didn't register in my brain. So in order for, say, North Carolina to land Todd Golden, they would have to pay his buyout? Is that how that works? Or so some of it?
Theoretically, yes. It's a little bit different, I guess you could say, if they know that. So, like, if we run with the scenario that Josh laid out, which is that Golden leaves Florida, Billy Donovan comes back to Florida, which I don't think is going to happen because I don't think Billy Donovan's going to come back to college basketball. However, if that is the case, there might be something in the deal where Florida's like, if you just pay some of this, we'll kind of let the rest of it go because we have our guy that we want here. However, if it's not that sort of situation and then you're completely undermining Florida and now they have to do a coaching search, you got to pay the $16 million to get him out of the contract and then give him whatever the contract is that you are going to give him. So it's a lot of money that you'd have to pony up.
I happen to believe in – maybe I'm coming out of left field with this. I happen to believe are their pockets long enough to make a move like that? Like, that's the question that I have. If the way Josh laid it out was fascinating to me in terms of, like, non-basketball reasons that went into Hubert Davis being fired. All roads point back to the money being a little funny. Just a little bit funny out in Chapel Hill.
I think the money is a little bit funny. I also think Josh didn't get into this, but he has said it before on this particular program. They kind of maybe potentially want to fire Bill Belichick at some point soon. And that buyout is going to be massive. Like, there was a clause for Belichick where if he got fired after, I think it was like July 1st, last year, it's only $1 million. But then that reverts. So if you try and fire him now, it's going to be a much steeper price to pay. I mean, there is one guy that has a lot of money who famously graduated from that particular program. But if you've looked at the internet of the last, I don't know, like 6 weeks, he's having a lot of fun on a NASCAR track. And I don't know that Michael Jordan wants to pony up the money.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know, like, who makes up the donors and the boosters for UNC. I just think it's totally ridiculous. Like, money should never be a problem for that school to me. Like, I don't understand why money would ever be an issue for that school.
I think they try very hard to make sure you don't know who they are for this exact reason. Because now you're coming around being like, hey, we need $16 million here. Now, like,
where's that?
Some of it isn't going to be, you know, in certain instances, you got to give that $16 million in like a buyout for a coach. You have to give that immediately. In other instances, there can be like payment plans, but I don't know that a coach, if you're Todd Golden, is going to come around. And it's a little different than like your PayPal for installments kind of a deal.
Yeah, I was about to say paying for
a lot bigger money going on there. But
man,
you can kind of rely on some of those things to where you're not giving massive amounts of money liquid immediately. But if you're going to go get Todd Golden, a lot of that money has to be available liquid now.
Yeah. I expect it to be one of these younger coaches because I think they would want a guy that can theoretically be there for the next 15, 20 years. I would think that that's the goal with whoever they hire here. But I don't know, man. Like I'm curious to see how this all plays out because there is one scenario to me that would mean that would be absolute death for the University of North Carolina. There is one scenario that would really, really cause them to have to look themselves in the mirror and go, hey, what are we about financially? How much do we really care about this athletic program? Because if Bill Self decides to step down as the head coach at Kansas, I think that makes I think the college basketball coaching market spikes immediately because everyone's going to try to give their guy a raise so you don't potentially lose him to Kansas or UNC. So I think that automatically kind of skyrockets and spikes that market. But the other piece of it is if that Kansas job comes open, who's to say the UNC job is better than the job at Kansas? I don't know if I was a candidate out there, I don't know how geeked up I would be to go to UNC over at Kansas where I know the money is long. We saw how much they paid Hunter Dickinson. We know how much they paid Darren Peterson. So I don't know, man. It's all fascinating to me. The bigger thing that's the most eye-opening about all of this is just the impact that money has on the entirety of this equation. The impact that money has on this decision ultimately, man. College basketball, the game that my OGs out there, the game that you grew up rooting for, loving and watching, it has changed forever. And the bottom line is, right now in the landscape of college athletics, the great American philosopher Curtis Jackson said, scared money don't make no money. It's kind of how it is when it comes to the landscape of college athletics. 310-840-4910 is the number here on Westwood One Sports Night. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, I'll tell you why last night the league MVP in the NBA was settled.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports Night. Here's Lynnell Willingham.
Party continues here on Westwood One Sports Night, taking you coast to coast as we get you up to 3 a.m. Eastern Time. You're tapped into the youngest in charge, Lynnell Willingham. Number to get at me on the talking text line, 310-840-4910. 310-840-4910. You can tweet at me as well. Same handle on each and every social media platform. It is at NELL_BTP. A lot more to get to. We appreciate you all locking into the show, man. 1 hour in the books. However you're consuming the product, we appreciate you being here. If you're listening on one of our over 200-plus affiliates out there nationwide, welcome in. We encourage you to check out the live stream of the program as well. We're streaming live nightly on YouTube. Just search Westwood One Sports Night. Big-time breaking news to start the show. Hubert Davis out as the head coach of the University of North Carolina. We're going to let you know coming up here in the next few days, and as we continue to get information here into Westwood One Sports, the latest with that situation. So just make sure you keep it locked here to Westwood One Sports. I want to go from one basketball topic to another. Last night, in the post-game press conference, Victor Wembanyama, in my opinion, wrapped up the league MVP.
Your merits. What would you say are your three campaign speech items?
Three arguments?
Yeah.
My first one would be that defense is 50% of the game, and that is undervalued so far in the MVP race. Because I believe I'm the most impactful player defensively in the league. second argument would be that we almost swept OKC in the season, and we dominated them 3 times with their real team and 4 times with more rotation players. And my third argument would be that offense impact is not just points.
I'll be honest with you, man. In today's day and age, where everybody's all buddy-buddy and we're doing jersey swaps post-game, I love that Victor Wembanyama straight up came out and said, you damn right, I should be MVP. And here's why. And anybody that's followed Victor and the Spurs this year, you understand that he's got a pretty damn solid point. His comments last night on why he should win MVP is, to me, why he's the face of the league moving forward. And I'll even take it a step further. I'm going to dip my toe in the water that your favorite sports radio host is scared to dip his toe into. Not only do I think he's going to be the league MVP this year, I think that moment yesterday, that moment last night, was the first step in Victor Wembanyama cementing his legacy as the greatest basketball player this game has ever seen. How often do stars have the unmitigated gall, the kahunas, to come out and straight up tell you, hey, Slim, I know what Shea is doing. I know what Luka is doing. I know what Ant-Man is doing. I'm Victor Wembanyama, damn it. And I've got the San Antonio Spurs back relevant again. I've got the San Antonio Spurs back where they belong, at the top of the castle, at the top of the mountain, so to speak, in the NBA. Give you some numbers here on just why Victor Wembanyama should be winning the league MVP this year. I don't think it's particularly close. Over the past 23 games that Wemby's played in, Spurs are 22-1. And in those 23 games, he's averaging 25 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 blocks in less than 30 minutes per contest. That's the crazy part about what we've seen from Victor Wembanyama this year. He's playing 29 minutes a night, averaging 25 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks, shooting 50% from the field and 35% from the three-point line. We have never, ever in the history of this sport, we've never seen somebody have the defensive impact that Victor Wembanyama has. I'm telling you, I got the chance to watch the Spurs a lot throughout the course of this year via League Pass, right? The way that he alters the opposing team's offense, the way that he turns you into a jump shooting team is second to none. And I know some people are probably looking and saying, hold on, Lynnell. Hold on, Lynnell. Are you taking it a step too far? Because it feels like the sexy thing to do here since the calendar year turned is what I would say. A lot of people have come up with Wemby hyperbole after Wemby hyperbole after Wemby hyperbole. It ain't no hyperbole, man. The proof is in the pudding. Numbers don't lie. Check the damn scoreboard. What Victor Wembanyama has done and the impact that he's had on that organization in particular, out of this world. Last month, February the 10th, 40-point outing against the Lakers. His 6th career 40-point game surpassed Tim Duncan, who had 5. Remember, Tim Duncan played 20 damn years in San Antonio. Victor Wembanyama has been here for a cup of coffee. And he's had this type of substantial impact on this organization. And statistically, you're seeing him accomplish things that are unheard of. He is an anomaly, man. If he's able to stay healthy, and that's the only concern I have about Victor Wembanyama. If he's able to stay healthy, I'm telling you, he is going, and I know it probably sounds crazy as hell saying this about a dude who's in year number 3, but damn it, trust me. Trust me, Daddy. Come on. he is on pace for my money to go down as the greatest of all time because of the two-way impact. The two-way impact is out of this world. The skill level at 7'4", he's almost like a damn video game. Sometimes when I watch him, it almost feels like I'm playing 2K. He's not real, what he's able to do. And the fact that he's doing it all in under 30 minutes per night, that's what's fascinating to me. A couple of more numbers on San Antonio and just the impact that he's had on them as an organization, as a team. Last month in February, Spurs became the first team in NBA history to go undefeated in a month while scoring 110 points per game. So we talk about his defensive impact all the time, and I think that really – his defense is what I think really catapults him to the top of the MVP conversation. But offensively, don't get it twisted now, Slim. Offensively, he is just as wicked, and I gave you the shooting splits. 50% from the field, 35% from three, and that's not on, a measly 2-3 attempts a night. Wemby's shooting 6 threes a night, damn it. So there's literally, to me right now, nothing he can't do. Nothing he can't do. And then last night, he goes absolutely ballistic. Spurs win, and they clinch their first division title since 2016. This year, total, Victor Wembanyama has had 10 games with 25 points and 5 blocks at least, which is crazy. I'm going to reiterate that. He's had 10 games this year with 25 points offensively and then 5 blocks defensively. And we know how it gets when it comes to Wemby and blocks, so to speak. There's so many altered shots that don't show up in the box score. There's so many moments defensively for Wemby that doesn't show up in the box score, even on the offensive end of the floor. That's the argument that I'm going to sit here and make. I think a lot of people right now are looking at Victor Wembanyama and saying, hey, his impact on defense is at a Hall of Fame level. His impact defensively is ridiculous. But offensively, I saw someone make the argument, I think it was my guy Nick Wright earlier today, said that I don't think he's a top 10 offensive player. The gravity that he has offensively is second to none. And the thing that I love about Wemby and why I'm like, hey, he's the face of the league. There's a confidence that he speaks with. There's a swagger that he carries himself with. It's not like you're Americans, right? And I'm not trying to make this political or anything like that. But, notice with Anthony Edwards, flamboyant, in your face, going to let you know about it. You know he's confident. Luka Doncic, in your face, animated. There is a quiet confidence that Victor Wembanyama plays with. And I'm telling you, it's after midnight, so I guess I can say nobody's got the balls that Victor Wembanyama has. Think about what it takes to come out post-game and straight up tell America why you should be MVP. Have we ever seen anything like this before? Where a guy just straight up tells you, hey, I'm the MVP. It's my league. This is the mentality he's had all year. Shots fired, pew, 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 pew. Chet Holmgren, SGA, and the OKC Thunder came right at your neck. Why am I the MVP? Because I done beat the damn Thunder, the reigning champs, 3 out of 4 times this year. And I put Chet in the damn gulag. He got Chet. I'm telling you, if you seen Friday, you know that scene when Debo roll up on the bike, everybody tuck their chain in. That is how Chet Holmgren acts when Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs roll up on OKC's block. That's how it goes. So I think his greatness, to me, goes far beyond any talent or skill that he has. I think his greatness has as much to do with his mentality as it does, his skill. I thought he was crazy as hell. He went out and was in, I don't know if it was Japan, somewhere overseas, hanging out with the monks, shaved his damn head bald. He's a different type of cat, man. He is. But without a shadow of a doubt right now, to me, he should be the league MVP. I gave you those numbers talking about 10 games this year with 25 points and 5 blocks. The rest of the NBA combined this year has 10 of those games. It's probably hard to wrap your mind around because the numbers I read out to you about Wemby, it sounds fake.
League should have known it was over when that dude was partying with the monks. I use the term partying loosely.
Right.
But when you're hanging out with monks, like, dude, that's an insane thing to do. But he did it, and now look at him. Did you see the block that he had the other night?
Dog.
When the guy goes reverse layup, and you're a hoop guy, I'm a hoop guy. When you go reverse layup, you're effectively using the hoop as defense.
Right.
And he just kind of stretched his arm out across and said, "Nope, I'll take that. Thank you."
It's so crazy because I'm just like you, D-Day. Every night he plays, there's some sort of, highlight of him defensively. You know what else I realized? And I did some digging on this to get some numbers to kind of tell the whole story here. Him on offense, you could throw a lob to Victor Wembanyama in the game. It's probably the easiest lob to throw in the history of the NBA. The wingspan is out of this damn world. As a point guard, he makes you right more times than not. The other piece is this, and I thought this was absolutely fascinating. At the rate that he's rolling right now to the basket, it has allowed the Spurs, statistically this year, they have generated the most corner threes ever in a season already in the history of NBA basketball. Because he draws that much attention when he rolls to the basket. Weak side defenders got to come over. You got to have all hands on deck. Everybody's got to help out to try and stop this damn cyborg. And I say that in the most flattering way possible, man. It's no disrespect to anybody coming up right now with Wemby. No disrespect to Shea. No disrespect to Joker. No disrespect to Anthony Edwards, Jaylen Brown. For me, when it comes to the league MVP, where Victor separates himself, I think, is the ability that he has defensively. Because Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, the last 2 years, has been absolutely spectacular from an offensive standpoint. The past 2 years. But averaging 25 points on 50% shooting 36% from three, it ain't nothing to sneeze at, right? And then you add in, he gets credited with 3 blocks per night. How many shots do you think he alters per night? How many offensive possessions end in a jump shot as a result of Victor Wembanyama? He turns you single-handedly, dog, into a jump shooting team. And for that reason, you better ask somebody. Not only, I think he should win Defensive Player of the Year this year. I think he should be the MVP. And I'm telling you, if he's able to stay healthy, what's preventing him in year 3? He's only in his 3rd year, too. Remember that. What's preventing him from being viewed as the greatest player of all time? The brother's 22 years old. And he works on his body. You can tell he's in the gym. 310-840-4910 is how you hit us up on the talking text line. Am I tripping? I think Victor Wembanyama, without a shadow of a doubt, is the clear-cut league MVP. And if he's able to stay healthy, I think he's got a shot to be the greatest of all time. Am I coming out of left field with this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. 310-840-4910. You can type at us in the YouTube chat as well. Just search Westwood One Sports Night on YouTube. Matt is in Mesa, Arizona, wanting to lock in. Matt, welcome into Westwood One Sports Night, pal. What you got for us?
Hey, how you doing? I could not agree more with what you're saying. And I guess the scary part is, what's Wemby going to look like at 25, 26, 27 years old?
Come on,
I mean, that's crazy. And then the last thing is, I hope De'Aaron Fox has a escalator clause in his contract for a number of assists a game. Like you said, all he's got to do is throw the ball up there, and
I'm telling you, man,
he's in. So he should probably renegotiate his contract for that.
Let me ask you this, Matt. Let me ask you this, Matt.
What's that?
You sound like you're a little bit of an older gentleman. If you don't mind, share your age with us. I'm 28, so when I talk about the greatest players of all time, obviously there's a perspective that I lack a little bit. Am I hyperbolizing this at all by saying he's got that opportunity?
I'm 58 years old, so yes, I'm older.
Okay. But you've seen a lot more basketball, right? Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just like, so yeah, I look at him when he was talking last night about, it was kind of Jordan-esque. I mean, if you watch that 30 for 30, that 10-part miniseries, and he Jordan was motivated by not getting the MVP.
The Last Dance.
And Jordan probably should have won 3 more MVPs than he actually did. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, but if you're going to start a franchise today, would you want Shea or would you want Wemby? I'd want Wemby.
I'm about to say, I think the answer is clear and obvious, my friend. I appreciate the call as always, man. We appreciate you making Westwood One Sports Night a part of your evening. Phone lines, text lines, wide the hell open for you, baby. 310-840-4910. Who is the league MVP? Victor Wembanyama last night in a Jordan-esque fashion shot his shot, called his shot. He said, damn it, I should be the league MVP for 2026. Is he right or is he wrong? Your calls, plus I'll tell you the 2 teams right now that are on a collision course to meet in the NBA Finals. Next, here on Westwood One Sports Night.
Tournament tension is at an all-time high.
On the way, and good!
And we've got your front row seat. Stream all of March Madness on the Westwood One app.
It's up, it's down!
From your home of the NCAA tournament, Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Westwood One Sports Night. Here's Lynnell Willingham.
Here I go. Westwood One Sports Night continues as we take you coast to coast. Number to get at me, talking text line wide open for you, 310-840-4910, 310-840-4910. I'm laughing at several different things. First and foremost, you all could hit us up in the YouTube chat. Just search Westwood One Sports Night to stream the show nightly. Got to give a big shout out to you all. We're on the hunt for our 2,000 subscriber. You all continue to move the needle each and every night. So we appreciate you making the show a part of your evening. If you're listening to us on one of our over 200-plus affiliates out there nationwide, we appreciate you locking in that way as well. Got a tweet to read. Hold on. First and foremost, if you're going to try to fry me and you got this goofy-ass @name, Trap Nerd Sonny, what the hell is a trap nerd? Are you kidding? I used to be a part of – let me actually hop in the time machine for a little bit. I used to be a part of a gang with my cousin called the Nerd G's, is what we called ourselves, because we strived to get good grades, but we were also gangsters. So I don't know if Trap Nerd Sonny is trying to rival my gang from 2011, but we are about that action, boss. Trap Nerd Sonny tweets at me and says, Nell keeps announcing his age because otherwise he sounds like someone who was born with a mortgage and a CDL, 28 going on 70. Fa is what he put at the end of it. He put a fa. That's good, Trap Nerd Sonny. I sound that you just fried the hell out of me, if I'm being honest. What do you mean I sound like I was born with a CDL and a mortgage? What the hell is that supposed to mean? 310-840-4910 is how you hit us up on the talking text line. I think Victor Wembanyama should clearly be the league MVP for the 2026 season, and I think the moment at the podium last night where he told the world why he should win MVP, I think it was Jordan-esque. I think it was a real badass thing to do, man. He is a savage. It's hang with monks energy is how I would describe it, man. And because of that, I think he opened up the book and turned the page on Victor Wembanyama eventually becoming the greatest player this game has ever seen, man. And I know my OGs out there going to scream, Michael Jordan this, Michael Jordan that, Michael Jordan this, Michael Jordan that. His bald ass ain't got nothing on Victor Wembanyama. And if you're out there listening on over 200-plus affiliates and you're follically challenged, that was not to discriminate against you. That was not to be rude or nasty towards you. Just how I describe Michael. What does he have to – is it going to be something where we measure it in championships? Is it going to be something where we measure it in, career accolades? Because I'm telling you, just from the eye test, and my eye test for the past 28 years has proved me damn right. My eye test says, man, we ain't ever seen anything like this, brother. My eye test says we'll never see anything like this, brother. The only thing that I keep saying that will hamper Victor Wembanyama, the only thing that will hurt Victor Wembanyama is his health. But the Spurs are already cognizant of that. That's why he only plays 28, 29 minutes a night, man. Just think about it that way. Imagine his numbers. I got to look it up now. Now I'm curious. This is the beauty of ESPN.com. You get to look up the analytics, and you get to look up the numbers per 48 minutes. Per 48 minutes, Victor Wembanyama is probably freaking insane. I'll have it up before we get out of or go to the next break. But, bottom line is this. Some people may think I'm coming out of left field. Some people are going to pick up what I'm putting down. 310-840-4910. Who do you think is the league MVP? And am I crazy for saying that Victor Wembanyama is on the brink and at the start of being the greatest player that's ever played this game? 310-840-4910 is the number. Dennis is in San Diego wanting to check in. Dennis, welcome into Westwood One Sports Night, brother.
Hey, man. Listen, you're not crazy, yet you are a little crazy to kind of come up with all the accolades and thinking that this brother is not going to get hurt, like you said, and that is what's going to hold him back. Hey, man, you can do 40. You can extrapolate 48 minutes all you like, right? He is fantastic. I saw the highlights the last couple of games. It's insane, no doubt. Yet, I'm sorry, man. You talk to me in 5 years with the thrombosis and this.
Well, the thrombosis is something that he'll never have to worry about again. We assume that's like a one-time
you think
thing.
So? All right, yeah. Well, all right. Well, so tell me again, who at that size, and just think about it.
I understand history is not on his side.
Who at that size has lasted 10, 12, 15 years? Because it wasn't Porzingis, because that guy's done, and who knows what the hell he has. It wasn't Yao Ming, right? Who was a different player and bigger, and I get it, and down on the block. But,
what I think is different about Wemby and some of the other bigs that you mentioned, his game is mostly perimeter-oriented, so he's not going to have to bang and deal with the wear and tear piece of it.
Look, man, how can you justify giving anybody the MVP that's playing less than 30 minutes a game? Forget the 65 arbitrary number.
But look at what he's doing in the 30 minutes, though. He's the most impactful defender that
he's
the league has ever seen.
Impactful. Great. I'll hand it to you. He's the most impactful 2.5 quarters a game player I've ever seen.
I mean,
feel better? You feel better now?
I think what you're trying to slight him for is a feather in his cap. Imagine if he was afforded 40-plus minutes a night, what he would do.
Well, we're not in the business to afford him, man. This is a game, dude. Come on. Yeah, I get it. You're only 28.
Despite him playing 29 minutes per night, the Spurs have the second best record in the Western Conference.
No doubt. Hey,
they're going to win. They win 60
doubt.
games. I appreciate the call. I got to let you run. We got a bunch of other people on the line. I knew this was going to ruffle some feathers because I know the OGs out there, my old heads, we love you. You're a part of what makes this program special. But y'all got to live and let live, man. Michael ain't going to be the GOAT forever, y'all. He already ain't the GOAT my eyes. Y'all know how I feel about LeBron James.
It is worth noting that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won the MVP last year playing 33 minutes. So, only playing 30 minutes is really not that big of a deal.
Exactly. And the last caller, and I thought it was an astute point, it's like, okay, well, he can't play more than 29 minutes. I look at it from the other side of the coin. If he could play 40 minutes a night, and Denton put the numbers up, I'll put them up again here. His numbers per 36, 30 points per game, 14 rebounds, and 4 blocks, dog. He didn't even put the assists up there. His assists probably jumped to about 6, 7 per game. I mean, anybody trying to discredit what Wemby has done you're ludicrous. I think the winning to me is the other part that really stands out. They're second in the damn West, which is why if you want to put Luka over him as an MVP candidate, you can't because they're lower in the standings. Anthony Edwards, you can't. They're lower in the standings. And then I think for SGA, when they match up head-to-head, he's the more impactful player. Talking about Wemby. 310-840-4910 is how you hit us up on the talking text line. Victor Wembanyama last night called his shot saying, I should be the league MVP for the 2026 season. Was he tripping or not? And I'll take it a step further. And this is where I challenge you all to help me out here. Youngest in charge, I'm 28. I haven't seen all the basketball that a lot of you all have. But my eyes don't lie. And the eye in the sky don't lie either. What we're seeing with Victor Wembanyama, we've never, ever, ever in the history of this sport seen a guy have this type of impact on the defensive end while giving you 30 points per game per 36 minutes, man. 310-840-4910. Let's go back out to the phones. Let's go to James out in Wesley, Michigan, wanting to chime in. James, what's going on, pimpin'? Welcome into Westwood One Sports Night.
Yeah, I listen to you guys religiously. I really enjoy it. I listen from 97.1 here in Michigan.
Home of the Detroit
Leslie,
Pistons.
You know it. And that brings up my conversation. I do agree that Wembanyama is ridiculous. And he could very well deserve the MVP. But it's ludicrous that Cade Cunningham's name isn't brought up. Even with the injury issue, which might prevent him from winning it, I think his name still deserves to be brought up.
I'm not saying his name doesn't deserve to be brought up. Real quick, and I'll let you finish here because I want to show you some love on what you said. My MVP ballot would be as follows. 1, Victor Wembanyama. 2, Jaylen Brown. 3, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. 4, Cade Cunningham. 5, Luka Doncic or Nikola Jokic. I give Cade some love because of where they are in the standings. I just think Wemby's defensive impact is greater as well as Jaylen Brown's defensive impact. And they're only 2 games ahead of Boston.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I do agree with that 100%. While I was waiting, I heard you say LeBron over Michael Jordan. I hate Michael Jordan. I'm a Detroit Pistons fan. I won't even buy his shoes. But that's ludicrous.
You probably hate LeBron, too, if you're a Pistons fan. You remember 25 straight points?
No, not really so much, to be honest.
Okay.
Now, my argument between Wembanyama and Jordan is that I guarantee this. Wembanyama is never going to have the winning percentage in the playoffs and championship that Jordan had. So,
hey, guess what? If he wins the finals at 22 years of age, damn it, that's what it looks like right now. If you were to straw poll NBA executives, NBA analysts out there across the country, I think they view the Spurs as the odds-on favorite here to win the finals.
Yeah, and he very well could. I think that would help his argument, but it's not going to solidify any kind of argument. It would require him winning 5 of the next 10 years.
Here we go. The goalpost is getting moved. Why does he have to win as many championships if he's having a bigger defensive impact than Jordan? I will let you go on that, my friend.
I don't think he needs
I appreciate
to
you
win
listening
as
to
many
us nightly, man,
championships.
and making Westwood One Sports Night a part of your evening. Those Pistons fans, man, they get riled up. Anytime I talk to a Pistons fan on the phone, I think they're gonna beat me the hell up. That's the mentality that the Pistons are trying to play with this year. But it's fascinating. It really is, because even the biggest Michael Jordan stan, even the biggest LeBron, Kobe stan, what he's doing on defense in combination with the offensive game, why is he not going to be the best player of all time? It's really the question that we should be asking. Why is he not going to be the GOAT? Now, the injuries in the health, like anybody that, is raising that concern, okay, I hear you. I understand. But he hasn't suffered the big-time major injury yet in his career. You know what I'm saying? He's missed time out of an abundance of caution because they understand that he has the potential to be the greatest of all time. They understand that this is a guy that if you manage him right throughout the duration of his career, he could probably give you 12, 15 seasons. But you got to manage him properly. And I think right now that is exactly what the San Antonio Spurs are doing. Talking text line wide open here on Westwood One Sports Night. 310-840-4910. 310-840-4910. Is Victor Wembanyama going to win MVP? And am I crazy for thinking that he's on the trajectory of being the greatest player that's ever played this game? Your calls, plus I'll tell you which 2 teams will determine who wins the title in the NBA. That's next here on Westwood One Sports Night.
The landscape of the NFL has shifted massively this month. And as we head towards the draft, what will happen next? The NFL never sleeps, and neither do we. On your home for the NFL, Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
is Westwood One Sports Night. Here's Lynnell Willingham.
Woo! Westwood One Sports Night continues. Taking you up to 3 a.m. Eastern Time. What up? Hit me up. Talking text line wide open. 310-840-4910. You can tweet at me. Same handle on every social media platform. It is at NELL_BTP. You can hit us up in the YouTube chat as well. We encourage you to stream the show nightly on YouTube. Just search Westwood One Sports Night. My guy Eric saying, I bet that tuna and eggs ate your guts up last night, Lynnell. Meal Monday last night here on Westwood One Sports Night. If you miss a day, you miss a lot. If you missed any of Meal Monday, lucky for you, you can check out the entire stream from last night. Joke's on you, Eric, because I ain't eat the tuna and eggs, you Bama. I'm having it tonight for dinner. I told you all, I'm on like a burger fix. It's actually pretty nasty work. How many cheeseburgers I've consumed here in the past like week? It's bad. I'll say this, on Saturday, all I ate throughout the course of the day was 3 double cheeseburgers. And when I say double cheeseburgers, I'm not talking about going to McDonald's. Now, what I'm about to say is probably not much better. I'm buying packs of burgers. Now, what I'm going to graduate to post-payday is getting back into the real foods. No more processed meat for your boy. I'm going to get me a pack of ground beef. I'm going to get me a burger masher. And I'm going to make burgers the real way. Hopefully it gets me out of my burger fix. I got a fix for Victor Wembanyama. I think he is going to win league MVP. And I also believe he's on track to become the greatest NBA player that the game has ever seen. Am I tripping when I say that? And what would give you pause about Wemby becoming the greatest of all time? 310-840-4910 is the number. As far as the MVP case is concerned as well, the fact that the Spurs are the 2 seed in the Western Conference and 3 games back of OKC, there's a real legitimate shot that the Spurs are the number 1 seed going into the Western Conference playoffs. Now, here's the tough part. Since the All-Star break, it's why I feel like the Spurs and the Thunder, they're probably going to lock horns in the Western Conference Finals. Whoever wins that series in the Western Conference Finals, I think they win the title. Because I got Boston coming out of the East, but I don't think the Celtics have the size to deal with OKC or San Antonio. Since the All-Star break, the Thunder, 11-0 when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander plays. They have wins over the Nuggets twice, the Knicks, Celtics, and Timberwolves. The Spurs during that span, 16-1 when Victor Wembanyama plays. These 2 teams right now are totally dominant and, for my money, stand head and shoulders above the rest of the NBA right now. 310-840-4910 is the number. Should Victor Wembanyama be the league MVP? And then what do you make about my proclamation? I think he's going to end up going down as the greatest player this game has ever seen. Do I need to pump the brakes on that? James is in Tacoma. James, what you got for us, brother? Welcome in to Westwood One Sports Night.
Yeah, I want to bring up North Carolina coaching options, if I could.
Real quick, can you give me your Victor Wembanyama stance? I don't want to totally veer away from the prompt, my friend.
Yeah, the thing is, I take Alexander because of the fact he's got 128 straight games, scoring at least 20 points. And he's played a lot more games than Victor. So why would Alexander not get the MVP?
Yeah, I think here's the thing. Shai has missed a considerable amount of time as well. We can throw you back on hold. We'll get to the North Carolina conversation coming up a little bit later on if you want to chime back in on that. But I think anyone making a case for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you got a strong point. I think the proof is in the pudding. A lot of people use the crutch of saying he's the free throw merchant. I just think there's the one thing that I would say about a guard in basketball, a scorer in basketball, your ability to get to your spot unimpeded no matter what's going on around you, I think is what makes an elite scorer. That is what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has mastered throughout the course of his young career to this point. 310-840-4910. Let's go to Herb out in Pittsburgh wanting to chime in. Herb, what's going on, brother? Welcome in to Westwood One Sports Night.
What's up, brother? So this is the second time I'm calling into you. I just recently found you on my local channels.
Yes, sir, man.
So,
I appreciate you, man.
You've been great, brother.
You
You've
late
been
to
great.
the party. Look, Herb. You late to. I appreciate the compliment, good brother. You late to the party, man.
Yeah, I'm late to the party, but I'll tell you this: I only get to listen to you every once in a while.
Okay,
so
I dig it.
Yeah, I'm a paid firefighter. So every once in a while, every 7 days, I get picked for the overnight stay up fire watch crap, where I got to listen.
Well, don't call it crap, brother. You're doing the Lord's work, man.
Yeah, it's crap, man. When you're missing a whole day of sleep, it's crap.
I feel you. What you got for us, man?
Yeah, it is what it is. But you help keep me up, man. That's awesome.
I appreciate that, man.
So, hey, so real quick, I got some old school basketball stuff, okay?
Lay it on me, man.
All right. So, first of all, I think you're completely correct with Victor. I think he's awesome. But here's what I hate about, I did hate about modern basketball compared to old school basketball when I grew up. So old school basketball when I grew up was about making the shots, making the plays, and then somehow we transferred into a dunk competition every game. And so for many years, during the Jordan years, it was like, oh, who can make the most dunks? Because that's what every game came down to. It was like, oh, breakaway dunk. Okay. Well, breakaway dunk, I get that. All right. You stole a basketball, you're running down the court, you're making the dunk. Okay, that's cool. But it was every single play. It was like, who can get on ESPN with the biggest dunk or breaking the backboard, or that turned me totally off of basketball because now there's no skill left. You got 7-foot guys on the court.
That's where you have a point.
Dunks.
And that's where you have a point that I totally agree with you on. We're loaded on the phone lines, brother, so I got to let you run. But I appreciate the call. I hate that I cut you short, brother. I appreciate you tapping in, though, man. What I think Herb is saying and what he was speaking to, and Herb, if you're still listening, brother, we'll give you kudos on your call because you made a good point. I think what Herb is trying to get at, the skill level in today, and I love hearing an older person say that, if I'm being honest, right? I feel like I'm getting a pat on my back when someone says that. I think in today's day and age, and I've said it a couple of different times on this program, we are in the golden age of NBA basketball. These dudes that are currently playing are the most talented individuals that have ever played the sport. Why is that the case? It's a byproduct of technology advancing. It is a byproduct of more resources being provided to folks. AAU basketball. Kids are playing basketball year-round now. I guarantee you, back in the 80s and the 90s, playing basketball year-round, AAU and all that was probably unheard of. So, yeah, as a result, I think naturally you're going to get more talented players, man. I 110% believe that. As far as Victor Wembanyama goes, what I think is so special about him, I agree with the skill piece of it, to be 7'4", and have the ability to stretch the floor and dribble the basketball the way that he does. I think it's spectacular. But what I continue to say sets Victor Wembanyama apart, the thing that continues to impress me the most about Victor Wembanyama is his mentality, man. I'm telling you, he is cut from a different cloth. And look, I say this a lot of times about these foreign players, man. That's why I think Giannis has such a deep appreciation for the Bucks. They changed his damn life. Brought him here to the United States, got him a bag, created generational wealth for him. It ain't easy to say goodbye to somebody that's done that much for you. On the contrary, with Wemby, coming from France, coming from overseas, I think he's got a deeper appreciation for the game. And I also think he's more skilled than a lot of these dudes in today's NBA because he was a pro starting at, 14, 15 years old. 310-840-4910 is the number. My guy Wiley out in Maryland wants to chime in. Wiley, welcome into Westwood One Sports Night, brother. What you got for us?
Hey, bud, how are you?
I'm good, man. Appreciate you chiming in.
Hey, not a problem. My cousin is Josh Graham on so I listen to his show quite a bit.
Hey,
So,
your cousin Wally. What up, cousin Wally?
Cousin Wally. Yeah, crazy cousin Wally. That's me. So look, I'm going to give you your Victor Wembanyama, like, amazing player. Obviously, 7'4", to do what he can do is crazy. But to say he can go down as the greatest of all time is way, way too early. We have to see what kind of longevity he has. See if he can obviously stay healthy. Because we could say if.
Can I ask you a question real quick? How much longevity did Michael Jordan have?
Well, let's talk about that. So Michael Jordan, obviously, let's talk about the defense first. Michael Jordan won the Defensive Player of the Year and led the NBA in scoring in the same year. So to say that the defensive thing, so Michael Jordan played his tail off on the defensive side, leaves the league for 2 years, and then comes back and wins 3 consecutive championships. So I just see, look, I love the game of basketball.
When we're having cousin Wally, when we're having this conversation about who's the GOAT, what's more important to you, skill and impact on the game, or is it about hardware?
To me, it's skill and impact. Michael Jordan literally had the best impact in the game ever. He could play on both sides of the floor. He could shoot. He could dunk. He could steal. I mean, you're talking about assists and blocks. Michael Jordan. Let's just say Michael Jordan's 7'4". We can say if Wembanyama stays healthy. We could say if Michael Jordan was 7'4".
Cousin Wally, I gotta let you go. Cousin Wally, I gotta let you go. Just give this message to the King of North Kakalaki. Tell him to put some damn lotion on, Cousin Wally. Cousin Wally, I hope you're not out here ashy either. 310-840-4910 is the number here on Westwood One Sports Night. A heck of a lot more to get into, including a conversation surrounding Dan Orlovsky giving his hard stance on who should be QB1 in the NFL draft. More of your calls next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports Night. Here's Lynnell Willingham.
It would help if I turned my mic on. You heard the big voice guy, youngest in charge, Lynnell Willingham, kicking it with you for about another 2 hours here. We're halfway down as we take you coast to coast here on Westwood One Sports Tonight. We appreciate you tapping into the show, however you're doing so. If you're listening via radio on our over 200-plus affiliates nationwide, welcome home, family. If you're watching us on YouTube, we appreciate you doing that as well. Make sure, if you're not watching on YouTube, that you get in on the action, baby. You miss a day, you miss a lot. Just search Westwood One Sports Night on YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment, do the whole nine to stream the show nightly. We're going to get into the National Football League coming up here. We're officially under 1 month away from the NFL draft, and I've got takes, people, on what I think is going to happen coming up in the NFL draft. Out in Pittsburgh, we're going to be boots on the ground out in Pittsburgh. Our midday show, Bleck and Abdallah, which you can check out noon to 3 p.m. Eastern time here on Westwood One Sports. They're going to be out in Pittsburgh consuming the draft in real time, man. I'm super excited about it. It's always my favorite time of year talking about the NFL draft. This year is kind of back to the norm. My Commanders back picking in the top 10. We had a year hiatus with our magical 2024 year, but now we are back in the projects. We'll talk all things NFL as we roll throughout this 1 o'clock hour on the East Coast. I want to continue the conversation surrounding the NBA League MVP and whether or not Victor Wembanyama has the chops to be the greatest player of all time. The MVP race, if you're just now joining us, I'm viewing it as a one-man race. Others out there would say that I'm crazy. Here is my top 5 MVP candidates right now in the NBA with under a month remaining in the regular season. 1, as I've mentioned all show long, I'd go with Victor Wembanyama. I just think the two-way impact plus the fact that he has the Spurs 3 games back of the 1 seed in the West, the in-season dominance against Oklahoma City. I think there are plenty of reasons why Victor Wembanyama should win MVP. As a matter of fact, Oliver Popular, if we got it ready, if you're just joining us, the reason I'm so convicted about Wemby winning MVP and going on to be the GOAT is because of these comments last night post-game from the alien Victor Wembanyama.
Your merits. What would you say your what are your three campaign speech items?
3 arguments?
Yeah.
My first one would be that defense is 50% of the game, and that it is undervalued so far in the MVP race. Because I believe I'm the most impactful player defensively in the league. Second argument would be that we almost swept OKC in the season, and we dominated them 3 times with their real team and 4 times with more rotation players. And my third argument would be that offense impact is not just points.
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm totally overreacting to it. I just think the fact that he had the stones, the kahunas, the gall to straight up in front of a room of reporters tell you why I should be MVP, like that takes onions. That takes stones. There is a confidence and a swagger that he plays with that I 110% think is a part of the evaluation for me when it comes to how I view him amongst the all-time greats. I do. I think his mentality is just as important as his overall skill. The skill, though, man, it's hard to deny. If you're just now joining us, man, I gave some of the numbers earlier in terms of what he's done here since the calendar year has turned, in particular the past 25 games or so. Spurs are 22-1 in Wemby's last 23 games. In that stretch, he's averaging 25 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 blocks, while playing under 30 minutes per game during that stretch. In the month of February, he led the Spurs to become the first team in NBA history to go undefeated in a month while scoring 110-plus points every game. So I know the reason I keep bringing that stat up in particular, and I feel like everyone is privy to what he is able to do defensively. Everyone understands the impact he has defensively. He turns you into a jump shooting team, whether you like it or not. But as much as we praise his offense, or his defense rather, I don't want his offensive game to be forgotten about. I think he is just as impactful on offense as he is on defense because of his ability and the gravity that he has as a roll man in the pick and roll, the passing ability that he has, the ability at 7'4" to be able to stand out on the perimeter and stretch the floor. Like, all that stuff matters. And I love to bring you all numbers to add a little bit of context to this. Victor Wembanyama has allowed the Spurs offense this season to generate the most corner three-point attempts ever in the history of the NBA because of the gravity that he has as a roll man, dude. Like, I don't know. Everyone keeps bringing up health, and I just got someone tweeted at me, and you could do so as well, at NELL_BTP. Somebody tweeted at me and said, glad you still don't let facts get in the way of your arguments. Wemby has missed a lot of time over the past 3 seasons combined. 0.0% chance he'll be in the top 2 or top 3 discussion. Do some research every once in a while. All right, you jackass. Hey, clearly you haven't been listening to the program. I mean, this is my whole thing. Everybody that's talking about, well, he's going to get hurt eventually. Talk to me when he gets hurt. Talk to me when he is, forced to miss an entire season because of an injury. Talk to me then. I know what people are going to say, about the last couple of seasons for Wemby. In his rookie year, he played 71 games. Last year, just 46 games. This year, he's on pace to play about 60, 65. Probably 65 if he's able to stay healthy and play the rest of the way. But the bottom line is, I understand it. There's not really a precedent for a dude of his size having an extended playing career. But I'm telling you, seeing is believing. This guy's different. And the other piece of this is, I don't think we've ever seen an organization as proactive as the Spurs in terms of being cognizant of playing him no more than 30 minutes per night. Denton said this during the break. I totally agree with him. I expect the postseason time, when the playoffs roll around, I expect his minutes to skyrocket. And the X's and O's, advantage, or not advantage, the X's and O's difference that we're going to see, that I project from San Antonio, you're going to see Victor Wembanyama play with Kelly Olynyk in the lineup, play with Plumlee in the lineup, play with the stripper hater Luke Cornett in the lineup. Like that, to me, the ability to protect him and not have him have to play center, I think that was the best thing that the Spurs did this offseason in terms of their roster, going out and getting 3 centers that can play next to him come postseason time. 310-840-4910 is the number. 310-840-4910 is the number on the talking text line. Am I tripping saying that Victor Wembanyama should be the league MVP? And can you see a scenario, I guess, in which he becomes the greatest player of all time? Now, I know I'm reaching and stretching with that one, but when you look at the numbers per 100 possessions, when you look at the numbers per 36 minutes, if he's able to stay healthy, this is going to be a real conversation. Let's go to Brent out in Seattle wanting to check in. What's going on, Brent? Welcome into Westwood One Sports Night, brother.
Hey there. Any relation to former Washington coach Tyrone Willingham?
I am not related to Tyrone Willingham. The great American artist Erykah Badu once said you can call on Tyrone, though. So I don't know if that helps you out.
Anyway, the Sonics will be on their way back tomorrow. But I grew up in the 1980s, and when I was going to school, I always wanted to read the sports books. Well, the sports books were about 20, 25 years out of date. So I read about Wilt Chamberlain. I read about Bill Russell. I read about George Mikan. I read about Bob Cousy. And you look at Wilt's stats. I had his basketball card. Wilt averaged 30 points a game, 22 rebounds.
But he was playing against plumbers and volunteer firefighters.
Oh, it wasn't that bad. He was playing against Bill Russell. He was playing
HVAC
against
technicians.
He was playing
part-time gas station clerks.
Oscar Robertson.
Blood donors.
No.
Waiters.
Those were great players. Oscar
Mechanics.
Robertson, Bill Russell, Jerry
Veterinarians.
West.
If he was playing in the state of New Jersey, they probably were pumping gas before the pregame.
Please. I just read about these guys. I wasn't alive to see them play.
I know. Hey, look, pal. I get you. And look, I appreciate you making the show a part of your night, and I appreciate the call, brother. 310-840-4910. If you want to hit us up on the text line with this, if you could call in and kind of challenge what the last caller just said, what profession of players, what was the other professions of the players that Wilt Chamberlain was playing against?
We sleep on how weird gas pumping is.
Dog.
Have you ever gone to New Jersey and had somebody else pump your gas?
One time it happened, Denton. It's so crazy. I was actually going to visit the former national network that existed nationwide, and as I was leaving, I went to fill up my tank. Mind you, first of all, I got pulled over by a New Jersey cop who said I ran the light. I barely did. Let me off with a warning, no real ticket. I happened to have my Wizards credential in the window, so maybe I seemed official. But this dude, sketchy as hell, by the way, at this 3-pump gas station, comes and starts pumping my gas for free.
It's very I don't understand the concept of it.
I don't either.
What, do you think I'm going to steal extra gas? I don't want extra gas. Where am I going to put it? I'm not going to put it in my pocket.
Where am I going to put it is a good bit. Seriously, though, I don't know, man. Your guess is as good as mine. I know they say down south, and Josh can help us with this. Josh, our guy B-Dot, our guy Will Dalton, the Southern hospitality, right? What do you call upstate hospitality? I don't know. 310-840-4910. By the way, because I have the pleasure of getting to do this gig from the confines of my home, I'm not, subject to the spiking gas prices, but I went to the Family Dollar yesterday. Gas in my neck of the woods, a hair under $4 right now. Not good. Not good. Politics! 310-840-4910. Did I give you all my MVP list? If I didn't, here we go. Wemby, 1. Jaylen Brown, 2. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 3. Cade Cunningham, 4. Luka and the Joker tied for 5th. The one thing that I know people are going to get upset with is why is Jaylen Brown number 2, Lynnell, in your MVP rankings? If it wasn't for Victor Wembanyama being an absolute cyborg, Jaylen Brown has had the most impressive season out of anybody in the association when you consider what the Celtics were supposed to be this year. There's been no drop-off for Boston, man. He's got the Celtics 5 games back of the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, despite not having Jason Tatum for the entirety of the year, despite him being the number 1 guy at the top of scouting reports. And this is what's, so impressive to me about Jaylen Brown and why I look at him in just a totally different light than most basketball pundits do. He's also tasked with guarding the opposing team's best player, yet he's still giving you 27 a night. Just saying. 310-840-4910 is the number here on Westwood One Sports Night. Let's go to our guy Big C out in Atlanta wanting to check in. Big C, what's going on? Saying hello from the Peach State. Man? What's going on, dog?
Hey, what's going on, Wendell? Hey, look, man.
Big C, you always do this, brother. Just say it with me. We're gonna teach you this right the hell now. Hold on, Wendell. Not Wendell. Hold on, Big C, chill. Lynnell, not Wendell, Big C.
I'm sorry.
Lynnell,
I got a bad left ear. You got a
bad left ear? Hold the hell on, see? Somebody need to help you out with that.
Hey, they won't have no more, man. They won't have no more, man. But look, when you on that, you just make it exciting instead of just a regular. And see, you bringing up stuff, man, I love to talk about. Look, I'm not just trying to agree with you, but, man, thank God that somebody on the radio just keep it real and just open up the gates and not just be standard.
I appreciate you, man.
Okay.
Despite you calling me Wendell. You don't even know who the hell you talking to, Big C. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, brother. I'm joking, man. I'm joking.
But look, Wemby, man, it's the greatest thing I've seen in the last 5-6 years. I mean, he's the next great. Look. SGA is good. He's a very good player. He's a great player. But when you go to the record book 20 years from now, he's not going to be looked upon like, Jordan and LeBron and all those. Okay. But let me go back to Jordan. Man, because I think you the one that may allow me to say this. Wemby, I think, should be the MVP, even though I don't know he'll get the MVP because he means more to that team and what he does. See,
if we're looking at it through that lens, OG, and I'm going to let you go, Big C, I appreciate you tapping in with us. If you're going to look at it through the lens of who means the most to their team, and that means that they should win MVP, I think it's got to go to Jaylen Brown or Cade Cunningham. You take Cade Cunningham off the Pistons are a play-in team, if that. You take Jaylen Brown off the Celtics. Derek White plays so damn well he might get a hair sponsorship. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be crazy to think about Boston without Jaylen Brown. So if you're looking at it through that lens, that's what's fascinating, right? When we talk about MVP, and hopefully, God willing, as I get to move throughout my sports media career, hopefully I'm blessed one day to be able to vote on league MVP. I would love to know the criteria that the voters use. Because every time the ballot comes out after the fact, after we've already crowned an MVP, you always see a surprise first place vote. And it always makes me question, well, damn, what made you give them a first place vote? Are you just joshing us? Or are you actually convicted in this dude being the MVP? I think in this year's MVP race in particular, there are going to be more first place votes spread out than we've seen in recent memory. Because I do think all these dudes that I just mentioned have a legitimate case. Wemby, Jaylen Brown, SGA, Cade Cunningham, Luka's non-defense playing ass, and the Joker. The Luka thing is tough, right? because I love me some Luka Doncic. I think he can score the hell out of the ball. He talks trash. I just don't like that he don't play defense. We may look at Luka as, and we just had Kevin Durant pass Michael Jordan for 5th on the all-time scoring list over the weekend. By the time it's all said and done, man, we may be looking at Luka as arguably the greatest scorer of all time. It's a fascinating conversation. It's a fascinating debate. I do know this, though. When it's all said and done, we will be looking at Victor Wembanyama as one of the greatest of all time. The big question that I want to kind of advance this topic with is this. When it comes to that conversation of the GOAT, what's more important to you? Ring culture or stats and impact on the game? Your calls on that next.
March Madness continues. The shot was blocked. Sweet 16 matchups start Thursday. Grab the Westwood One Sports app and ride with us. Wait up and in. All the way to the national championship game.
This for real. We for real.
From your home for the NCAA tournament. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Westwood One Sports Night. Here's Lynnell Willingham.
It's Westwood One Sports Night, and I'm here for a fight on the mic tonight. Bars. Westwood One Sports Night continues as we get you up to 3 a.m. Eastern Time, taking you coast to coast. Big time breaking news that we got to start the show. Hubert Davis out as the head man of the University of North Carolina. We will talk about some potential replacements for Hubert Davis as we roll throughout the final hour and a half of this program. We appreciate you tapping into the show, however you're doing so. SiriusXM Channel 375. If you're listening on our over 200-plus affiliates out there nationwide, we appreciate you tapping in that way as well. You can hit us up on YouTube and stream the show nightly. Just search Westwood One Sports Night. Denton, I suck. I'm sorry about that. This portion of the show brought to you by our pals at Robinhood. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Learn more and get started today with Robinhood at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Should Victor Wembanyama be the league MVP? 310-840-4910. I also think after his post-game presser last night, I think that Victor Wembanyama opened the door and rolled out the red carpet for him eventually becoming the greatest player of all time. Because, see, that GOAT mantra, that greatest of all time achievement, is about a lot more, in my opinion, than just championships and accolades and statistics. Has a lot to do with mentality as well and impact on the game. I think Victor Wembanyama checks a ton of those boxes. Adding on to the conversation on the phones and the talking text line at 310-840-4910. When we're talking about what separates an NBA player, what makes a guy really be firmly in the conversation of being the GOAT, from your vantage point as a fan, what do you put more stock into? How many championships a player has won? Or are you putting more stock into individual stats and performances and things of that nature? 310-840-4910. Because I'll be real, for me as a young basketball fan at 28 years of age, ring culture has gotten tired as hell. Just has for me. I don't need Victor Wembanyama to go win 6 rings to be considered better than Michael Jordan. Just like LeBron doesn't have to win 6 championships to be considered better than that gambling maniac Michael Jordan. See, I throw a dig in there, show you who I really root for. But no. What's more important to you as a fan? Denton, you're a fan of the NBA, a fan of basketball, a fan of pro sports as well. When I ask you that question, when we're having this conversation of how we power rank great basketball players, great NBAers. What's more important to you? Is it ring culture? Somebody just typed at me and called me Wendell in the chat. Is it ring culture or is it stats and accolades?
I mean, it has to be a beautiful marriage of both. Like, I can't call somebody the greatest of all time if they have one ring. As that's the struggle that I currently have with Nikola Jokic, because I watch him and I say there's no one that can do what he has done, but he's only won one championship. And that's not like all exclusively his fault. Like, I'm not an idiot. I understand. He has a lot of shortcomings on his team. He has a lot of shortcomings with coaching over the past few years. So I think you need to have a balance. I've always thought internally there's a benchmark of championships that you have to have, and that number to me is 4. If you really want to be considered the greatest of all time, you have to have at least 4 championships and then everything else, which is why I think LeBron's in the conversation, Jordan's in the conversation, all these dudes that are prototypically up there, all of them that are realistically in there have 4. So you got to hit at least 4 and then do all of those other things. So Jokic needs to go on a crazy run is kind of what I'm getting at. But with Wemby, he needs to go on a crazy run, right? Like, we have to see that with our own eyes. It doesn't have to be in a row like LeBron has. I mean, Tim Duncan won 5 over the course of like 20 years. Right. So, but there needs to be some sort of success in terms of winning, because that's, at the end of the day, that is why we play.
If he is able to secure an NBA title at 22 years of age, boy, you're off to a really smoking start, aren't you? Because think about the landscape right now of the NBA. I think there are 2 dynasties that are on the cusp of being formed. I think we saw it last year with Oklahoma City. And then I think the Spurs are next up. They're knocking on the doorstep, man. And I would even take it a step further. I would put San Antonio's roster, San Antonio's team, ahead of OKC. You know what's even crazier about both of those 2 teams? They're still armed with NBA lottery picks, dog. Like, that's what's so crazy about OKC and San Antonio. They're still adding to their collection of talent. Now, shout out to OKC and Sam Presti. The one thing I am curious about is how does San Antonio deal with the financials of this thing? Last offseason, Chet got an extension, Shea got an extension, Jalen Williams got an extension. Their core is intact. Our guy TR the Star types at us in the YouTube chat. You can do so as well. Just search Westwood One Sports Night. He says, OKC's roster greater than San Antonio's. You out your damn mind. I just look, I don't know. I ain't going to gas it up, but I think it's an interesting conversation to have. I think as far as like the depth, it's Wemby. It's Dylan Harper, who's just scratching the surface of how good he's going to be. It's Wemby. It's Dylan Harper. It's Stephon Castle. It's De'Aaron Fox, who's been an All-NBAer before. It's Keldon Johnson off the bench as the best 6th man in the game. It's Harrison Barnes, who has championship pedigree. Like, this group they're legit, man. Like, there's not a hole, in my opinion, right now that exists in the Spurs roster. They are deep. Julian Champagnie, Devin Vassell. I mean, they got something for you, man. And they're going 4 deep at the center spot. Luke Cornett, Mason Plumlee, Kelly Olynyk, Bismack Biyombo. All dudes that have played big-time minutes in this league at the 5 spot. You put them next to Wemby? Hot damn, man. Hot damn. In terms of the GOAT conversation and what Wemby has to do to enter it, I get it. We're looking out into the future here with this, but I'm telling you, if he secures a title at 22 years of age, this conversation really grows another pair of legs here. 310-840-4910. Frank, caller from the Bay Area, wants to check in. Frank the Tank, welcome into Westwood One Sports Night, brother. What you got for us?
I like listening to you. You're entertaining.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, but you're way off on the Spurs.
Y'all do me so dirty, man. It's like y'all build me up just to tear me down.
And listen, OKC's a different dog. This team ain't no joke. They put up 130 all the time. They're going to manhandle them. They're winning it all. There's no doubt in my mind.
What about the matchups during the regular season? Do they not mean anything to you?
Yeah, well, home field is everything. And last year when they had home field, they beat Denver by 30 points.
Brother, it ain't guaranteed that they're going to have home court advantage. San Antonio's 2 games
They're
back.
up by 3 games. They've won 11 in a row. There's only 10 games left. They're not going to gain 3 games with 10 to go. Come on.
Just as much of a tear as the Thunder are on, San Antonio's on equally as impressive of a tear. They're 16-1 in their last 17.
I'll tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas has them at 6-1, and OKC's plus 135. What's that tell you?
That the folks out in Vegas at them sports books need to put them damn Heinekens and Milwaukee Best Ice down. That's what it tells me. Anybody that's watched
good.
this
the
year.
Spurs are good. They're good, but they won't be able to beat them. No way. This team's winning 3 in a row. Like the Dodgers.
Well, when you bring up my Dodgers, I get a little choked up.
Are you a Dodger fan? You know who my favorite team is?
I'm the
you
biggest Dodger
not to
fan.
laugh.
Who's
I'm
your
a
favorite
huge
team?
Padres fan. I love the Pods, but I root and I bet the Dodgers every year.
Did you see Shohei tonight? Did you see Shohei tonight? 11 punch outs in 4 innings.
He was terrible in the World Series, and so was Blake Snell.
Well, who cares about the World Series?
Snell,
We won, brother.
Listen, you
we
know
won.
how good of a team the Dodgers are? Blake Snell lost 2 games, and they still won the World Series.
Blake Snell, Rajai Bell, Dodgers in 4. 310-840-4910 is the number here on Westwood One Sports Night. I mean, come on, man. I can't come on this program. There is no Dodgers slander that'll ever be allowed here on this program. I want to veer off topic just for a hot second because we were having the hot button pressing debate as to why folks in New Jersey get their gas pumped for them. One of our first ladies of the show, Jane in Tucson, Arizona, has answers to that question. Jane, good morning. How are you? Welcome to Westwood One Sports Night.
Hi, I love the show. I listen all the time.
I appreciate you.
I've spent a lot of time at the Jersey Shore in my life, even though I never lived in New Jersey. And once
what
when
was you
I
doing on
waited
the
a
Jersey
long
Shore,
time,
Jane? Hold on, Jane.
What?
You don't get to, I said you don't get to just breeze by that, Jane. What was you doing on the Jersey Shore?
hanging out with Bruce Springsteen mostly.
You go ahead with your bad stuff. What a flex. You mean you got Bruce Springsteen on speed dial?
Well, some people who know him, yeah.
Suck it. You go ahead with your bad self, Miss Jane.
I used to work for Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes.
Look at you. That means you got an ear for music, huh?
But I also have an ear for basketball, and I'd vote for Wemby.
What do you are you a Suns fan?
Not really.
Okay.
I love Luka madly, but I would still vote for Wemby for most valuable player because he's most valuable to the Spurs. Where would they be without him?
I think that's a fascinating point. Now, the original reason that you called us here was about the gas pumping epidemic.
I have to
in
tell
New
you about
Jersey.
the gas.
Tell me about the gas.
This little harried man made me wait a long time to put the gas in my car. And
Hold
when he
on,
got
I'll
to
say
the
this.
car-
The dude that pumped my gas was actually small and hairy as well. So maybe we're barking up the same tree.
Well, anyway, when he got to the car, I said, listen, I pump my own gas in Pennsylvania all the time. Why can't I pump it here? And he looked at me, and his eyes got real big, and he replied, and these were his exact words, people were setting themselves on fire.
Wait, what?
He said people were setting themselves on fire.
What year was this?
Probably about, I don't know, at least 15 years ago. I've
I was
lived
about
in
to say,
Tucson
I'm trying to think of, like, what about New Jersey would cause their residents to set themselves on fire?
Everybody's
were the Nets,
smoking
were the
while
Nets still in
they're
New Jersey at
smoking
that time?
cigarettes.
They're smoking
What?
cigarettes, smoking a fug,
Yeah.
a square. Can I tell you a
I
weird
guess.
but
I mean,
true
how
fact
else
about
would
me?
you do it? I can't think of any other way you'd do it except if you have a cigarette and you get gasoline on it.
Can I tell you a weird but true story about myself? I went to college in Bethany, West Virginia. There was a bar, a legendary bar, Bubba's Bar in Bethany, West Virginia. In an attempt to meet the woman of my dreams, I smoked 4 cigarettes at once. And 4, yeah. You can boo it all you want.
What do you
boo
mean?
it all you
Someone
want.
found that attractive?
Well, no, she didn't find it attractive. But I was trying to show her I had machismo and I have vet lungs. So I decided to.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a bad cigarette, too. It was some local cigarette. It was awful. Never again, though. Cigarettes are bad, people. Jane, you're awesome. We appreciate you making Westwood One Sports Night a part of your evening. my friend.
It's my pleasure to listen to you, so
Yes,
take care.
indeed. You take care as well. Bet you didn't know I had that in my arsenal, huh, D-Day? Could you imagine me outside of Bubba's, 4 sticks in the mouth, 1 lighter, 1 Lynnell?
Great. Are you trying to like swipe light, or like how's it working? You lighting each one individually?
Lighting each one individually. And by the way, it was my first time ever consuming a cigarette. Awful.
Why did you think she would like that?
So there was this weird bit at the bar. I was underage and got in based off of like someone licking their hand and then stamping their stamp on me. Older chick, she smoked cigarettes. She was so hot though, bro. And I feel crazy saying hot. It's not a word that I use, but she looked damn good, didn't they? And I'm like, but you smoked cigarettes, Big Mama. She was a star on a volleyball team. She was awesome. Upperclassman that I had no chance of getting with.
Was it like a routinely smoking of the cigarettes, or just when she went out drinking?
Oh yes, it's how she finished her night at Bubba's with a cigarette.
Oh, so at least she's not like smoking a pack on a Tuesday.
No, she was all PAC, all President's Athletic Conference in terms of the volleyball. Now she already got busy, but she was a habitual fug smoker. You ever heard a cigarette called a fug?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while on this show, man. About 1 hour and 20 left to go in the program. A lot more to get to, including the big-time breaking news of the night. Hubert Davis out as the head coach of the University of North Carolina. As we ease our way into the final hour of power, we'll give you some potential replacements for him. When we come back, though, I'll tell you why I found out over the weekend. I'm never getting married, ever. It's next.
The stories that matter from the brand you trust. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Westwood One Sports Night. Here's Lynnell Willingham.
Westwood One Sports Night continues with the youngest in charge, Lynnell Willingham, as we take you coast to coast. Appreciate you locking into the program. However you're doing so. If you're listening on our over 200 plus affiliates out there nationwide, good morning. Welcome. We encourage you to check out the visual element of the program as well. We're streaming nightly on YouTube. Just search Westwood One Sports Night. 310-840-4910 is how you hit us up on the talk and text line. This weekend, I watched a lot of college basketball, ate a lot of burgers. You all probably think I'm some obese monster. One day we'll do a full body reveal. Maybe tonight's the night. I just don't want to push this back and then, like, everything fall over.
What do you mean full body reveal?
Well, hold on. I don't mean a full body reveal, but
Easy
there. So I'm totally going off on a tangent. There's, this bad habit that I picked up, Denton. I like watch mukbangs on TikTok, and there's this one mukbanger. His name is John Loves Food. You could probably pull him up and screenshot him and throw him on here at some point, but he goes, his bit is he rips the bag open and goes, McDonald's got some new menu items. And he yells it in that annoying-ass voice. It's terrible. Everyone keeps asking in the comments, John, show us the full build. John, show us the full build. Because they seeing this brother eat all this food, they probably thinking he as big as a Tonka truck. I promise you, when I said I ate burgers all day on Saturday, just trust me that I'm healthy. I'm healthy enough is how I would put it. I'm a former Division III football player who would have went Division I and made the National Football League if I didn't tear my ACL on senior night. Denton is my witness.
Facts. We met each other 3 years ago.
310-840-4910 is number. But nah. So I ate a lot of burgers this weekend. I watched a lot of college basketball. Games were awesome. We got the Sweet 16 set, which gets started on Thursday. It's going to be great. I also realized, right, like, if I had a girlfriend or a wife, would I have been impeded on my Saturday, my Sunday, and my Friday night for that matter? would I have been forced to watch something outside of the tournament, then I wouldn't have been able to do my job as well. And it sent me down a rabbit hole, right? It sent me down this rabbit hole, and I got to thinking about Dak Prescott. We know the story that broke last week about why him and his wife called it off at their bachelorette joint party. Stupid-ass idea out there, by the way. But it got me thinking, man, like, poor Dak, you know? What was the real reason? Was it infidelity, or was it because the sister didn't want to sign the prenup? And then I hopped on the horn with one of my good brothers, who is actually the nephew of radio legend Donnie Simpson, who I'm sure you all probably know out there, the Donnie Simpson Show, syndicated nationwide. And me and my good brother's talking, and he's like, man, there's really no pros for getting legally married if you're a man. And I thought, you know what? You're right. Now, I tread lightly with this comment because Denton Day is a married man. Josh Graham's a married man. For all I know, Oliver could be married. But, like, the Dak Prescott situation sparked so many thoughts and ideas, and it made me Google, like, what are the pros and cons of marriage for a married man? There are health benefits, financial stability, emotional and social support, life satisfaction. I actually push back on the life satisfaction bit. Anybody out there that is dated and, like, you're doing the college dating bit. First of all, in college, I was playing house like a mug, boy. I'm telling you. College, the best part about college was literally getting to play house, especially if you're dealing with a chick that got an air fryer or something. Come on now. Try to get to cook it up, shove it up for you, sending me off on my way before I had to go call games and whatnot or sell a 10 bag. Who knows, right? The thing about marriage that I think most people don't know, and I'm talking like I'm a married man, so this is crazy. The thing about marriage that most people don't know, I was not familiar, like, with the concept of alimony, with the concept of, like, a prenuptial agreement. All the little details, all the nooks and crannies of getting married, I wasn't familiar with. Dog, as I did some research this weekend, and I'm doing it, continuing it here in real time, my brothers out there that are married, not named Denton Day, because we're not going to put Denton Day in the crosshairs.
I would say, please leave me alone.
We're not going to put Denton Day in the crosshairs. All my brothers out there that are married, even our sisters out there that listen to the show, what is the benefit of, like, the legal binding of marriage? Because I get it, right? Like, most of the females out there, like, a lot of females out there got this dream of getting proposed to on the sand beach. Got your bridesmaids and all that, and it's great. Outside of that, though, like, from a legal binding standpoint, like, I'm going to just say this. I think it is crazy as hell, the concept of alimony. Because this is what women do, man, and our sisters out there on the program, we love y'all. But, man, I've been hit with it. Y'all been hit with it. You know how many times I've been broken up with where the woman wakes up and says, I'm just not happy anymore? The hell you mean you ain't happy anymore? You're telling me that a woman can just wake up one day and decide she's not happy, and now I got to pay her ass? I think that's crazy. So, like, the concept of, like, legally getting married, to me, is just crazy, dog. I just don't know what incentive any man out there has to get legally married. Now, luckily, I asked the AI tool of Google. I don't even know what the name of this chick is. We know what the official AI software of Westwood One Sports Night is, Lynette. We haven't heard from Lynette in a while. But when I asked, they were giving me the cons of marriage for men. High divorce risks, costs. It should never cost to break up with somebody. That's why, to me, marriage is stupid as hell. I know they say till death do us apart. Is that because the money gets funny? I mean, come on. And because of that, I'm never getting married legally.
This is all because you wanted to watch basketball on Friday night.
It's all because I wanted to watch basketball on Friday night, and I was thinking about the freedom that I had as now being a single man, that I got to do that.
You and I did the exact same thing.
I know. Okay, brother, you...
I think you need to find the right one.
You found a good one.
I'll give you some pros.
Okay.
Health insurance. We work in radio. They ain't exactly giving us the platinum plan. with the health insurance. Did I mention health insurance?
No, but
that's a pretty big one.
Yeah, bro. I got Ron Allen types at us in the YouTube chat and said, brother, I had to pay alimony for 13 years. I got my final payment in 2 months. Brother, all because she probably woke up one day and said she wasn't happy. I would have told her to take her happy ass to McDonald's, get a happy meal.
Hopefully that's not the girl in his profile picture that he's paying the alimony.
Oh, my God. It better not be, Ron. He looked like Dave Bautista from a distance. Like, Westwood One Sports Night, man. What a show we have. Y'all can hit me up on the talking text line with this. You can hit me up on YouTube as well. Talk me into wanting to get married legally, right? I'm reading the cons here. Reduced social circle, loss of freedom, in-laws and conflict. Seems like there are way more cons than there are pros when it comes to marriage. I know we're talking about marriage right now. Big-time breaking news that we had to start the show. Hubert Davis officially out as the head coach of the University of North Carolina. I'll give you some folks that I think would be more than deserving of replacing him at UNC next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Westwood One Sports Night. Here's Lynnell Willingham.
What up, party people? Final hour of power. You're on Westwood One Sports Night. Appreciate you all tapping into the program. However you're doing so. If you're listening on our over 200 plus affiliates out there nationwide, welcome. If you're checking us out on YouTube via the live stream, which you can do nightly, just search Westwood One Sports Night. We welcome you into the program as well. I can't believe we're already in the last hour of the show. This thing goes by so fast each and every night. We appreciate you all hitting us up on the phones, hitting us up with your calls and your texts. It is the People Show, so we encourage your participation always. You can keep the conversation rolling with me on social media. Same handle on each and every social platform. It is at NELL_BTP, man. The show got totally thrown off the rails by the big-time breaking news that we had leading into the program. Hubert Davis officially out as the head coach of the University of North Carolina. 5 seasons as the head man in Chapel Hill. He had been an assistant on the bench under Roy Williams since 2012. 124 and 54 records, 69% winning percentage. The way that the Hubert Davis tenure in Chapel Hill will probably be defined is a bunch of highs, but also a bunch of inconsistencies as well. In year one, made the NCAA tournament as an 8 seed, lost to Kansas in the Final Four. Year two, preseason number 1 in the country, but didn't make the tournament. They go 20-13. 2023, they ended up making the Sweet 16. The past 2 years, though, even the biggest North Carolina, biggest Hubert Davis fan will admit, the last 2 years they did not live up to the standard. They did not reach and meet expectations. This is North Carolina, baby. You're a powerhouse. You're a blue blood. You're one of the brands that are synonymous with not just college basketball, but all of college athletics. For you to go one and done in the tournament in back-to-back years, as we're finding out right now, it is a fireable offense. The big question that I have now that they have moved on from Hubert Davis, will they go outside of the family? Will they go outside of the mob to make this next hire? Because I think if you're a fan of the University of North Carolina, if you're going to move on from Hubert Davis, if you're going to move on from a guy that's done a lot for your program as a player and as a coach, you better have a damn good trump card, so to speak. You better have a damn good replacement. They need a needle-moving type of replacement for Hubert Davis. And according to the University of North Carolina, for the first time in this institution's history, well, at least since I've been born, they're going to go outside of the family to make the next hire and determine who leads this basketball program moving forward. This is a quote from the leadership at Chapel Hill. Quote, a national search is underway for the Tar Heels' next head coach. Bubba Cunningham and Newmark are leading the search in Carolina has hired executive search firm Turnkey ZRG to assist. They wrap up the excerpt with this quote, they will consult with an advisory group, including former players, former coaches, and supporters. The question that I continue to have when it comes to the University of North Carolina, the biggest question that I have is, do they have the money? Do they have the financial backing via donors, boosters, etc.? Do they have the financial backing to still be a power player in today's NIL-filled landscape of college athletics? I've given you these numbers quite a bit over the past 48 hours, but I'll reiterate them here again for anybody who's just now joining the program. Since 2016, the University of North Carolina has had 4 top 10 recruiting classes. Just 4. 2 of them came under Hubert Davis. Unacceptable. You're North Carolina. You should have a top 10 recruiting class year in and year out. You should constantly be looking to reload, similarly to how your arch nemesis, Duke University, does. That should be the model. That should be the expectation when you are a powerhouse program, like North Carolina. You should always be looking to retool. You should always be looking to field one of the best rosters in all of the country. Why? Because you're North Carolina. Word around the water cooler is this. Word around the water cooler is the University of North Carolina was late in the arms race when it comes to the era of NIL. They were one of the last big powerhouse programs to hire a general manager. And I think their lack of success here over the past couple of years is a byproduct of them being behind the times when it comes to NIL. The reports out there suggest that early on in the, NIL era, the University of North Carolina maneuvered with arrogance, and they thought that, hey, I walk in your living room with this jersey and this national letter of intent, you're going to sign because we're North Carolina. How did that work out? How has that worked out for the University of North Carolina? Not well, because the bottom line is, in today's day and age, it's about dollars and cents when it comes to the ultimate deciding factor as to whether or not a kid commits to a university or not. It ain't about how that program can help turn me into and better me as a young man. It's about how much can that program pay me. So when it comes to the future of North Carolina basketball, I think the next coaching hire is important, but I also think it's just as important that that coach knows he's going to have the necessary support to build a sustained winner in Chapel Hill. Couple of names that continue, to surface here when it comes to a potential replacement for Hubert Davis. Todd Golden at the University of Florida. Iowa kind of doing UNC a favor, throwing a candidate out there that wouldn't have been available probably because he'd still be playing. So he's now able to talk if he would like to. He's got a pricey $16 million buyout. So that'll tell you right there if the money is funny or not when it comes to the University of North Carolina. Because if they're going to swing for one of these big fish, Todd Golden, Tommy Lloyd from the University of Arizona, his buyout, $11 million. Nate Oates from Alabama, his buyout, $10 million. think about this. If you're North Carolina, if you want one of those big fish, you're going to have to go double dipping. You're going to have to go double dipping. You're going to have to pay that buyout. Then you're going to have to give out a lengthy, lucrative contract for that guy to come be the head coach at your school. So the proof is going to be in the pudding. Everybody keeps saying, oh, they're going to hire outside the family. They'll hire outside the family. It won't be nieces and nephews and aunties and uncles and brothers and sisters. Show me. Show me. You've maneuvered one way for the entirety of my life. And for some of our listening audience, the entirety of your lives as well. Dean Smith, Roy Williams, Hubert Davis. Show me that you're going to hire outside of the family. Because a little birdie in my ear tells me that you don't have the money to go outside of the family. You don't have the bag to go outside of the family, which I think is totally ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense for University of North Carolina to have any sort of financial issues when you consider the big brand that they are. But let's move under the premise that there are no financial restrictions. Let's move under the premise that there isn't any sort of financial hurdle to clear, so to speak, and they can hire whoever they want. If that is the option, if that is the opportunity, and there's no financial restrictions, the number one man that the University of North Carolina should want to hire is Todd Golden from the University of Florida. Bottom line, young, really good recruiter, really good X's and O's guy, and I think because of his age, he's the type of dude that you'll be able to have on the top of your bench for the next 20 years potentially. That's the reality of the situation here. Now, here's the thing. Everybody's looking at this as like a new day and a new beginning for North Carolina basketball. There is one individual that can totally throw a wrench in the plans of the University of North Carolina. What would be the death penalty for UNC? What would be a obstacle that I don't think they could overcome? The worst case scenario right now for the University of North Carolina would be if Bill Self decided, you know what? It's been fun being here in Lawrence, Kansas. It's been fun being a Hall of Fame legendary coach, but I'm ready to hang out with my grandbabies. I'm ready to hang out with my family. I'm hanging it up. If Bill Self decides that he wants to step down as the head coach of the University of North Carolina, Tar Heel fans, you're screwed. Flat out. If Bill Self decides to step down, Tar Heel fans, you are screwed. Well, why, Lynnell? Because that job, for my money, is more attractive than the job in Chapel Hill. That job, being the head coach of Kansas, knowing the resources that you'll have, I think it's a more attractive job. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I doubt it. There was an old Taco Bell commercial. Charles Barkley starred in it. And it went, I may be wrong, but I doubt it. That's how I feel about this situation at the University of North Carolina. I may be wrong when it comes to the financial status of the university. I may be wrong in terms of Bill Self stepping down being a total death penalty for the school, but I doubt it.
We've never questioned Kansas's budget.
Ever.
Ever. They had Snoop Dogg throwing money on stage before NIL was a thing. We have never questioned their budget. And, we were talking with Josh, and he said that he thinks Jacques Vaughn is the next in line at Kansas. And maybe that ends up being true. I don't really know, but I would wonder what his role is here. You know what I mean? Because when John Shire took the role at Duke, we didn't really know if John Shire could coach, but he had been the lead recruiter for years. So you knew that he could recruit. You knew that you weren't going to miss a step when it came to being able to get talent in the door. And I know oftentimes people think that you will just always be able to be a powerhouse if you are a legitimate blue blood. We have seen that that's not the case. You know who hasn't really been awesome, except for 1 year recently? UCLA. They're still a blue blood because they won 10 championships with Wooden, but they have never been at the top of the Big Ten conversation. I like Mick Cronin as a coach. Personally, not as much. But they really haven't been all that special outside of that one, Cinderella year when they were an 11 seed and made it to all the way to the Final Four. You know what I mean? So you got to really drill it if you're North Carolina. And you're right. The worst thing that could happen is another big shark in a small pond.
Yep.
And a shark that's bigger than you.
That's just the way that it is right now when it comes to North Carolina. Who would I hire if I had it my way and if there were no financial limitations? It would be Ty Golden. If I had some financial restrictions, Billy Donovan, man. I keep going back to Coach Donovan. Coach Donovan can recruit. Coach Donovan can coach. Coach Donovan has the sauce to get you to the pros. Something that North Carolina's lacked, quite frankly, over the past several years. That would be my guy if I was UNC. Billy Donovan. Now, when it comes to Billy D's age, I know that may be something that maybe is a potential deterrent, but got to strike while the iron's hot. You got to get back relevant, North Carolina. Am I taking it a step too far with that? I don't even feel like, they had Caleb Wilson this year. When things were going good, they were ranked as high as what? Top 13 in the country?
Here's my thing with that, and that's been the crutch for this Hubert Davis thing. If you're any basketball coach in the history of life that's worth a damn, you have probably preached about battling adversity. You can't spend your time preaching about battling adversity and then use an adverse situation like a Caleb Wilson going down. We know it sucks, but you can't blow a 19-point lead. And that's what he did.
That was ultimately the death penalty, for lack of a better term, for Hubert Davis. Blowing that 19-point lead. And I know people are going to say the press conference. Is ultimately what was his undoing as well. But I think if you win that game, if you advance to the round of 32 without Caleb, no matter what happens after that, I think you're fine. I think people are not going to have this major expectation for you. People are going to hold you to such as high of a standard.
Also really didn't help that VCU turned around and got smacked.
Mollywopped.
Just absolutely put through the shredder. Didn't stand a chance. And that's the team that came back. I do think that plays a small factor. That to me plays way more of a factor than the press conference. You think AD is sitting there and be like, I don't know if we're going to fire him. And then he's like, was he just rude to a reporter? Spoiler alert, most of them don't like us either. So they don't really care about that.
And I'm glad that you brought that back up and kind of rehash that, because we played that audio into the ground over the weekend because it felt like that was, a part of the equation here. I will say, though, like you're saying, being mean to a reporter, is that going to cost you your job? I don't even think that it was about him being mean. It was just a lack of give a damn at the podium, it felt like.
What do you mean?
It felt like he was it just felt like he didn't owe an explanation for what happened.
What do you mean?
We were bothering him. What do I mean? You didn't want to talk, Hubert.
What do you mean?
Bottom line. And you're not going to keep cutting me off either. You didn't want to talk at the podium. Don't want to talk now, brother.
What do you mean?
You're not going to keep playing with me, Slim. I promise you. I'm not the chancellor at North Carolina. I'm not Caleb Wilson. I'm not none of these bratty-ass 16, 17-year-olds where you walk in your living room and they look at you like you're God.
What do you mean?
That's enough of Hubert. Get him the hell off the show. 310-840-4910. Are you done, Hubert? I guess that answers that. We had a lot more to get to. Final 40 minutes or so left in the program. Denton Day going to put the show to bed as he does each and every night. When we get back, though, we're about a month away from the NFL draft. Hot takes are spewing, people. I'll tell you why Dan Orlovsky is a worse NFL analyst than he was a quarterback. Next.
Every team, every player, every story, every angle. This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
It's Westwood One Sports Night. Here's Lynnell Willingham.
You know what? I've made an executive decision on this program. The tunes we're hearing right now, California Love, every time our Dodgers win Olipop, this is what we're coming back to break from at some point. Baseball season gets underway, hot and heavy. Opening day tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, on Netflix. Ow! Barry Bonds going to be a part of Netflix's exclusive opening day coverage. Netflix's comes out weird. Doesn't that sound nasty to say? Ugh, Netflix's. Anywho, who am I? Lynnell Willingham, youngest in charge. Riding with you for about another half hour. Good morning to you. If you're on your way into work, I never ever tell you all to have a good day. I probably should start doing that. It's hard for me to think about you all having a good day when I not immediately go to sleep, but in the hours after go to sleep. You all are taking your lunch when I'm probably waking up. It's pretty nasty work.
You could channel like your inner, I don't know if you guys had this in high school, but your inner morning announcements. We used to have this dude when I was in high school. Every single time he would sign off, make it a great day or not. The choice is yours. I was like, damn.
So
this is
going to sound like a bold-faced lie. I always ended up working the prompter on the morning announcements because I was too shy to go over the PA and go on the television.
Look at us now.
I know, right? Isn't that something? Marla Harper, if you're out there on your way into Magruder High School right now, shout out to you. 310-840-4910 is how you hit us up on the talking text line. You can stream the show nightly on YouTube as well. You all have been kicking ass, by the way, on YouTube. We're on the hunt for our 2,000th subscriber, so make sure you continue to subscribe to Westwood One Sports Night. Let's do this. We're about a month away from the NFL draft, under a month away from the NFL draft. And I'll be honest, with all the college basketball and NBA talk, it doesn't feel like it. Doesn't feel like we're a month away from the draft, but you bet your ass we are. And the draft is always one of my favorite times of the year. Just seeing, dudes have their lives change forever. There was one point in my life where I thought I was going to walk across the stage and get drafted. But now I just sit back and envy folks. Don't envy anybody. I'm kidding. But the draft is always cool. And I think this year, more than years past, we really don't have a legitimate franchise-altering quarterback in the class. And I know you probably could have said that about the Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders class as well, but time will only tell on that. Year before that, you had the Big Six with Jaden Daniels and Drake and Caleb, the Iceman. This class, worse than last year's class. And because we don't have that franchise-altering talent at quarterback, I've said it all draft season long, Fernando Mendoza has been force-fed up the board is the way that I would put it. I think the conversation surrounding QB1 in this class is baseless. You know why? Because neither Fernando Mendoza nor Ty Simpson, I think, have the qualities to be a franchise-altering quarterback. They will both, at their peak in the NFL, talking about Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson, both at their peak will be quarterbacks that you win with, not quarterbacks that you win because of. And I'm steadfast in my belief on that. So much so that this crazy SOB has been telling you all for months now that the Raiders shouldn't draft Fernando Mendoza 1-1 overall. And when you consider the free agency haul, when you consider the fact that they were able to keep Max Crosby, I feel even more strong in my conviction about that, man. Go roll with Kirk Cousins and deal with the rest as you go. That's what I would do if I was the Raiders. I would not be putting all of my eggs in this Fernando Mendoza basket. You only get the number one overall pick so many times in your life as a franchise, some more than others if you suck. But with the Raiders, man, the hope is that you're not picking number one no more. That's the hope. Why take a guy that's not the best player in the class, number one overall, just because you need a quarterback? I do not subscribe to that thought process. I just don't. What's even crazier than Fernando Mendoza going number 1 overall, in my opinion, what's even crazier than that is Ty Simpson being drafted in the first round. Dan Orlovsky, ESPN NFL analyst, says, yeah, you bet your ass that's going to happen, and then some. Take a listen.
I can tell you, and I'm not going to tell you who, but I probably texted 12 to 15 general manager, decision-making coaches in the NFL the very simple text of Ty Simpson is QB1 in this class, or the best quarterback in this class, and 2 people got back to me with a disagreement.
That's it? 2 people got back to you with a disagreement? Now, I watched the full clip, so I know what he said after. He said the other 13 or so responses were along the lines of, I feel where you're coming from, Dan-O. And there were responses stronger than that where folks said, yes, I agree. ESPN NFL analyst Mike Tannenbaum, former GM in the NFL, corroborated what Dan Orlovsky was reporting, saying that he had heard the same thing from talent evaluators across the NFL. Here's the thing. I don't know who the hell's lying to Dan Orlovsky and Mike Tannenbaum, but y'all need to cut it the hell out. There is no scenario. And look, I'm the same guy that's sitting here and telling you that Fernando Mendoza ain't even that good. There's no scenario in which I would take Ty Simpson over him. None. Ty Simpson started 15 games in his career in Tuscaloosa. The list of first-round quarterbacks taken with under, 30 starts that go on to have success in the NFL is not a long list, man. It's not. 1 season as a starter for Ty Simpson. And look, when Drake May had his season as a starter, right? He lit the damn world on fire. Right? There are other examples of, one and dones that have done well for themselves, but they're normally super physically gifted, super toolsy guys. Dude, Ty Simpson's 6'1", 212 pounds. How in the hell do you expect this dude to have success at the next level at quarterback with those measurables, with the lack of starting experience? And then the bottom line is with Ty Simpson, the proof is in the pudding. He fell off of a damn cliff down the stretch. And then you hear him say, well, I was hurt. We're all hurt. My heart's hurt, damn it. Everybody plays hurt. So this idea that Ty Simpson's play fell off because he was hurt, I'm not buying that. Bottom line is Ty Simpson ain't that guy, pal. Point blank. I think the conversation surrounding QB1 is silly as hell, but I'll even take it a step further. I think the debate between Simpson versus Mendoza is more of an indictment on Fernando than it is a compliment to Ty Simpson. Bottom line. Fernando Mendoza ain't some world beater at the quarterback position either. Turn on the Cal tape. Took a bunch of sacks. Struggled with accuracy at times. My big question with Fernando Mendoza, because look, nobody's going to deny or take away the Heisman season that he just put forth and put together. Right? What he did last year in Indiana was legit, man. What he did last year against Indiana was legit, or for Indiana, rather, was legit. My big question when it comes to Fernando Mendoza, how do you look, how do you fare, how do you function when it's not 75 degrees and sunny? When you're pressured, when you're under siege, when you're forced into making quick snap decisions, how do you function? Because when you turn on the tape of Fernando Mendoza, it's a bunch of clean pockets. I worry about how Fernando functions outside of a clean pocket. We got a little bit of a glimpse of that in the college football playoff against the University of Miami when Ruben Bain, and Akeem Messidor were hell on wheels and had Mendoza under siege really for the entirety of the first half. You saw the way Fernando looked, man. When you force him off of his spot, when you force him to go through his progressions, he's not the same quarterback. But I'm not going to sit here and, really try to fault him for having a good supporting cast. but it's the reality of the situation, and it totally impacts and colors my evaluation of him. I don't want to judge a guy. This is in life. It's not just about quarterbacks. This is about life. I don't judge a person when everything's going swell for you. I don't judge a person when it's 75 and sunny, like I said about Mendoza. I think the telltale sign of whether or not somebody's about that action, whether or not somebody's made up of the right stuff, is how you function in the face of adversity. And I'll say this for Ty Simpson, just comparing his Alabama team to Indiana's, Alabama sucked compared to Indiana this past year, man. And in terms of like help, bunch of drops for Ty Simpson. Didn't see a bunch of drops from Mendoza. Dan Orlovsky went on to give these numbers as well in the radio hit that he did, or the TV hit that he did. Indiana last year got 178 yards per game. I think it was 148 yards per game from the running back position. Alabama last year, 78 yards per game from the running back position. So to Ty Simpson's credit, he had to function in the less ideal circumstances far more often than Fernando Mendoza did. But I keep saying this about both of these dudes. Mendoza in particular, when you take into account the supporting cast. Indiana won with Fernando Mendoza, not because of Fernando Mendoza. Bottom line. 310-840-4910 is the number. You can hit us up in the YouTube chat as well. Good point made here by End Times Warrior. Hopefully the times ain't ending no time soon, Mr. Warrior. Ty Simpson couldn't even beat out Jalen Milroe. Clock it. 100%. I agree. And Jalen Milroe. Boy, was I fooled by Jalen Milroe. I thought that the Seahawks were going to have a package for his ass at some point during the season to let him do the only thing he does well, which is run. And they didn't. So, shout out to Jalen Milroe. I think it's crazy talk, though, man. I do. I think Ty Simpson's getting boosted up because NFL evaluators are realizing as they keep grinding the tape that Mendoza ain't that great. I'm still not 100% sold on Mendoza as QB1. If I was the Raiders, I would roll with a veteran in 2026. I'd take the best available player at 1-1 overall, or I'd trade back. He's QB1 without a shadow of a doubt talking about Mendoza, but he's not worth the number 1 overall pick. I got some numbers for you here on Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson, and I think this context matters. In games against teams ranked in the AP poll pregame, these numbers per our friends at True Media, Mendoza in those games against ranked AP poll teams, 60% successful play percentage, 9.1 air yards per attempt, 72% completion percentage, 41 touchdowns and 6 picks. For Ty Simpson, 46% successful play percentage, 8 air yards per attempt, 64% completion percentage, 28 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. The proof is in the pudding. Mendoza, greater than Ty Simpson. Both of those guys, though, Chanel bags, Louis Vuitton bags, Bottega bags, Baby Birkin. They gonna get carried in the NFL, man. They're no better than a briefcase. They're in the same family tree as Jalen Hurts, a.k.a. the passenger. 310-840-4910 is the number here on Westwood One Sports. Last call to hit us up on the talk and text line. If you don't, then we're just going to put the show to bed the way that we always do as we tag our pal Denton Day in. Last night as we put the show to bed, we had a story that I don't know that will ever top Dayton Weber, the quadriplegic cornhole murderer. We'll see what Denton Day has tonight if he can top that. That's next here on Westwood One Sports Night.
Imagine a sports platform that talks with you, not at you. Your stories, your opinions, your one destination. This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Sports Night. Here's Lynnell Willingham.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hopefully you all have a happy Wednesday. Hopefully you make it to work safely and on time. Hopefully you drop the kiddos off to the before care on time. And I hope they have a damn good day too. Youngest in charge, Lynnell Willingham, riding with you for one final segment. We'll tag in the super producer, Denton Day, in a hot second as we get ready to put the show to bed the way that we do each and every night. Ironically enough, we put the show to bed, and y'all are just waking up. So how about that for is that an oxymoron? I probably just sound like a moron at this point. Justin in D.C. thought I was a moron for my thoughts on Fernando Mendoza. Justo, what it do, brother? Welcome into Westwood One Sports Night.
Well, I'm not saying you're a moron, but just the number one asset in the NFL is a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract.
A good one.
A lot of things you can do.
A good one. Just ask the Panthers.
Yeah, and there's plenty of Jamarcus Russell and others. But as a Washington fan yourself, would you not trade the Jamar Chase or the Chase Young pick for Justin Herbert?
Dude, Fernando Mendoza is not Justin Herbert. He's not.
Well, we don't know that yet. We don't know that yet.
We do.
Players
Justin Herbert was a far more decorated college quarterback.
Players develop and move up and gain skills, and
I
agree.
agree.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was it? Damn. Can you at least tell us what are you going to eat for breakfast? Did he drop?
You scared him away.
Damn.
By the way, the answer is no. I would not trade Chase Young for Justin Herbert because that means I wouldn't have Jaden Daniels, and Jaden Daniels greater than Justin Herbert.
Tired and wired from Denton Day just now. I love it.
That's me.
Have we? I know we're about to do some insider baseball here for a second. Ollie Pop, are you familiar with Lynette?
I don't.
We got to get Lynette back.
The AI voice situation.
We got to get Lynette back in this bad boy. My heart aches without
your free trial's over.
Yeah, I'm about to say. Well, since there's no Lynette, let's do it the OG way and send you all on the way to work, the way that you should be sent to work, with putting the show to bed.
So MLB season starts tomorrow, opening day. I guess not tomorrow, it's today. It's the Yankees. It's the San Francisco Giants. It's on Netflix. Yippee-ki-yay. It also means that teams are rolling out new food items across the country. And some of these teams and some of these ballparks go a little crazy with their food items. And I stumbled across one that I think fits the mold here. This is a lobster poutine that is going to be available at Fenway Park. Are you familiar with what poutine is?
About to say, do they dice up Vladimir Putin and drizzle him in lobster?
No.
No,
poutine is more of like a Canadian situation, although maybe people in Massachusetts are going to say, no, it's from there. But it's like French fries and gravy. It's very Canadian. But they're putting lobster on it. Here's the thing. Would you be interested in eating lobster that was prepared in a baseball stadium?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I feel like, what do you need? Well, I've never made lobster before, so I guess I don't know what's needed to make lobster.
First of all, it looks like this item, lobster is incredibly expensive. Like, incredibly expensive. This item has to be about $45.
Well, that's the thing about baseball stadiums and stadium food, period. It's all overpriced.
And that's probably $60.
Because it's lobster, right?
Do you know how much lobster costs, like, here in not Maine or Boston?
No, how much?
Dog, it's like $70
so
a pound.
There was a seafood buffet I used to go to back when my pockets were aligned, and they would always give you the option to do lobster, get one lobster tail. That seafood buffet was $75 per person plus gratuity, which is another terrible bit, by the way. Restaurants out there, stop charging gratuity. If I want a tip, I'm a tip, damn it.
Well, you got a tip.
Well, yeah, if they deserve to be Just kidding. Just kidding. Or not.
I don't know that I would trust lobster in a ballpark. I also don't know, like, when I think of going to a baseball game, I don't really know that I want to eat lobster.
What the hell? Exactly. That bougie-ass food. At a baseball game, you're supposed to be eating hot dogs.
Hot dogs, maybe like an Italian sausage with some peppers, chicken tendy basket. You know what I mean? Like,
sexual.
I mean, mess me up. We're getting borderline erotic up in here. But I've never gone to a baseball game and thought, man, it's a great time for some lobster. Hot as hell outside, too, in the summer.
That's what I'm about to start cooking. I'm thinking about things like, I'm sorry, Denton, I just totally hijacked this, but like,
what, like
Italian
French fries?
sausages, bro. No.
Oh, Italian. I thought, like,
I'm
please don't
on
start cooking lobster.
I'm all for French fries, by the way. The Family Dollar that I've been hitting up, they have these like circle tater rounds. Whew. If anyone's ever had breakfast from BK, it's like the circle hash browns. Oh, they're so good. Oh, I was supposed to have tuna tonight because I haven't eaten since like 5 o'clock.
Burger King.
I may do a burger bit. Well, no, I got Burger King in the house.
Oh, you got Burger King in the house. Oh,
I got Burger King in the house with my burgers, and I got my circle rounds, my potato rounds. Man.
We do have a text message related to your tuna, if you want that.
Lay it on me.
This text message comes from Bada bing, bada boom, Carter with a Bronx, bada hit you with shoot.
Oh!
He says, goodness gracious, Lynnell keeps digging a deeper grave with this tuna stuff. He didn't say stuff.
Yeah.
How is he saying he ate ice cold, day-old tuna fish surprise a day later any better, bro? That's in all caps. Get him an apple and a salad expeditiously. Great googly moogly. I love the phrase googly moogly.
I was about to say, I think the great American philosopher Bubba Sparks once said, good googly moogly, that thing is juicy.
Good googly moogly, that thing is juicy. That was a big
Yes!
TikTok trend.
Yeah. By the way, like, first of all, Carter from the Bronx. I feel like I'm not even allowed to introduce him. Can you just introduce him one more time so I can talk to him?
Bada bing with a boom, Carter from the Bronx, but I hit you with a truth.
You tried to speed through it so fast that you ain't laugh, bro. You're hilarious. Oh, wait, that's Juicy J that said good googly moogly, that thing is juicy. My fault, Cloudy MG. I thought it was College Park, Bubba Sparks. You're supposed to, anybody that eats tuna the same day that they prepare it, you trifling. You got to let it sit in the ice box for a little bit. In the ice box. Wow, I sounded old just now.
Easy there, Omarion.
Yeah, but
we're just gonna mention like old R&B rappers. The entire time.
There's a YouTube comment. Does that say Pajama Man? Or It's late, bro. On first glance, I thought it said Pajama Man. I swear to God. You said you were a respectable commodity in the world. First of all, why are you typing like this? Is this AI or you, Pajama Man?
Commodity's crazy.
Yeah, and a respectable commodity in the world of football. Back in your prime, what position did you play, and was there another position you would have preferred to play? By the way, love your show. You can't use respectable commodity and then end it with BTW, LUV, your YOUR show. Well, I guess that's the right tense of show. SHO show. You don't get to do that.
Yeah.
But nah, man, I played Division III football for like a year and a half. In high school, I played defensive end. I once started a flag football game at quarterback. I played tight end. I played all 5 positions on the offensive line. I was somebody, damn it.
Yes, Eric, I did say Omarion. Icebox had a grip on me in 6th grade. I didn't have any women, but I had an icebox where my heart used to be.
I hear police sirens outside and knowing what's going on in my neck of the woods, wondering if there's another quadriplegic on the loose. Am I saying that right? Quadriplegic?
Yeah, quadriplegic. I got to be honest, I thought I was going to get a phone call about that joke last night. I did not.
Thank you for listening to our radio show. We appreciate you. Denton, I that quickly forgot what the joke was, then I quickly remembered, and I realized I can't repeat it, or maybe we will get that phone call.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what his bail was. Probably an arm and a leg.
Like, subscribe, comment, search
We
the
sent me
show.
a video of old no knees and no elbows climbing a ladder. I mean, this dude is the most disabled person I've ever seen. Now, we knew that because he shot someone and then drove away. But then to see him, like, climb up a ladder is the craziest thing in the world. Like, send that dude out to war. He might actually be able to do something.
Oh, my gosh. By the way, over the weekend, I saw two different tweets. I saw one tweet saying the draft age was saying, like, once you turn 26, they don't want you no more. Then I saw one saying they're going to raise it to 34. I would go to jail before I went to war. This has been Westwood One Sports Night. Drake, what up, brother?
This is Westwood One Sports.